But you got a flag down.
Side.
Everyone but the center. Offense.
You're listening to Oofsides on Track and Turf Media.
Talking about playoffs?
But they are who we thought they were.
Who's gonna win it all?
Football.
And who is Dunyan Rings?
You play to win the game.
Live from the Dieter Brock studio.
Don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug.
Here's the crew that's bringing it all to you.
Oh, yeah. Football it's been back, but it's back again. Yeah, it never left.
It's even
Football.
backer than before.
Yeah. It's more football. Funny thing about that intro, I played that for Joe after we recorded Fake Racers on Monday, and the first thing he asked me was the what studio? And then I had to explain to him some Dieter Brock Oofsides lore.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But I'm just going to assume anybody listening to this knows that, because Oofsides, we're back. Week 2 is here. Who are you people?
I'm football.
I'm also football junior.
Football.
And I'm
We're already
football
off the
third.
rails.
Yeah. Hey, we were never on the rails to begin with.
No, Dewey should
Football,
be
it's the
football to
fourth.
third.
Oh, actually, yeah. That
Yeah, I
makes
didn't think
sense.
that one through.
Matt's football junior because you're short.
I'm just a little guy. Just a little birthday boy. How was your guys this week?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Feeling good about football.
I feel a little worse, but not bad.
You and me both, brother. Yeah, this year continues to not make sense. And I guess we'll just
No.
get right into it. Starting with Thursday night, the Bills rolled over the Dolphins. In another classic Bills-Dolphins shootout, it was all Buffalo. And an unfortunate common, I guess, ending in a lot of these is another nasty concussion for Tua. And that's going to overshadow what was just a terrible night for the Dolphins offense in general. But yeah, I don't know what the future holds for Tua if this is what it's going to be like.
Dude's got to hang it up at this point. This is his third one in 5 years.
I think
Like-
he's had more than that.
Third one in a year and a half,
The
at
third-
least, or 2 years. I mean,
The third documented one. but
Yeah, at
I
least
think it's safe to
thirds of
assume
the-
it's been at least 5, probably.
Yeah. Not to mention anything that might have been subconcussive for that. I just hang it
Like,
up. It's not
his-
worth it.
His brain is going to become mush if he keeps playing, and I don't think anybody wants to see that happen. And like, on one hand, I understand his competitive nature and him wanting to keep playing because he's got the talent to be a good quarterback in this league. But it's like, at what point is it still worth it for you to just keep getting yourself beat up like that and risking your long-term future after football?
Yeah. You can still
Yeah.
be in the sport without risking your health like this.
It
not like you
really
have to
sucks. but-
Completely go away.
I was going to say, and the tough thing too is, because 2022 he had those 2 really bad ones, both in prime time, or one of them was in prime time. The other I think was just like a Sunday afternoon game. But he, like, the whole narrative last year was how he was taking these like jujitsu classes to learn how to, protect himself better when he's going down. And then obviously it's heat of the moment, but he just doesn't do that at all. It's a 4th and 4, I believe, is the play that he's scrambling on. He's a yard or 2 clear of the first down marker, and Damar Hamlin, ironically, is the one who comes up to hit him. And instead of, sliding, Tua dives and jams his head straight into Damar's chest. And I mean, I think it's the fencing pose is what it's called, is immediately
yeah,
what he goes
fencing.
into when he hits the
The
ground.
fencing
And
pose.
like, that's always extremely unnerving to see. And
Like,
it's,
even
it
besides
sucks.
even besides the concussion, he probably hurt his neck doing that too. That's the same exact
Yeah.
kind of hit that paralyzed
Yeah.
Shazier.
Yeah.
That's just bad tackling.
I gotta be 100% honest here too, and I'm not being sensationalist or anything either, but like, once I realized it was Damar Hamlin who he hit, I was like, oh, please don't have that happen again.
Could you
like- Like,
1-to-1 KDR.
like literally in the most serious way possible, that was like the two weakest body parts of anybody in the NFL colliding head on with each other.
Could you imagine Tua drives his head into DeMar Hamlin's chest. Tua falls onto the ground in the fencing pose again, and then DeMar dies again. Like, like in the same play.
Oh my
What
god.
was it, that the Packers Broncos game that one time when Atwater got laid out?
Yeah.
And
Was
it
that
looked
the
like
Super
a
Bowl?
damn. Yeah, that was the Super Bowl. And that was that damn disaster scene. Like,
I don't know if I've seen that. Hang
Oh
on.
my god, it's brutal if you've never
it's
seen it.
really bad.
Like, I can't remember who the receiver was, but whoever it was, I think, caught the pass or went up for it, and Steve Atwater fucking murdered him, but also caught one of his teammates at the same time, and all three of them were just laying on the ground next to each other, barely
All right,
moving.
Favre just threw it. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just 3 dead bodies.
yeah.
Oh
That
my
one-
god.
One guy just standing there like, what the fuck do I do?
Okay, the best part about this is immediately after is Steve Atwater literally just laying face down on the ground with his arms at his side. Like, this is a dead body.
Yeah.
That might be in the thumbnail this week.
That's gonna be in the thumbnail.
Tua will not be in the thumbnail, don't worry.
No.
Just one of the biggest hits in the history of the NFL, just wiping 3 guys out at the same time.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, that and I don't want to use this as like an excuse to shit on Tua because I like Tua. I think he's a great dude, but this was a terrible game for the Dolphins offense.
Oh, even before
Um,
that happened,
Yeah,
it was one of his probably one of the worst games of his career, if we're being honest with ourselves.
yeah,
It just
and it
was ugly.
it's hard for me to kind of talk about this game when that happens, just because
Right.
like I have criticisms of the Dolphins, and I think it boiled down to the Dolphins are the Cowboys of the AFC, which is that they can beat up on all the or the bad teams, but as soon as they face a good team, they crumble. And this was a prime example. But obviously, the main takeaway from this is hoping he can figure this out because it would be a loss for football if Tua retires early, because when he is healthy, he's fantastic.
And it also really puts the Dolphins' season potentially in peril as well, because now there are the Buffalo obviously is a team that they're going to compete with likely for this division title. Now they're down a game to them already after week 2, and they're going to be without their franchise quarterback for at least 4 games, probably longer though. And
Yeah.
it sounds like they're rolling with Skylar Thompson for the time being. So like they're still a really talented team, but without their main guy leading the offense, it's going to be tough for them to navigate this next part of their schedule and keep their season afloat.
Yeah, and like luckily, there's a guy like Ryan Tannehill who's out there basically waiting for an opportunity like this. So
Going
Tannehill
back to
to
Miami.
yeah,
Him back
return
on
to
the
Miami.
Dolphins would be fucking insane.
But yeah,
And
it's okay.
also like the targets they have there, they could plug in any kind of quarterback, and I think they would be okay if they can get their hands on somebody. They have
Oh yeah,
Waddle and they have
absolutely.
Hill. If they can get somebody serviceable in there, that team can still compete.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just a matter
luckily-
of who they can find.
Luckily for them, there may be a first overall pick on the market soon. But we'll get to that later. On the other side, Josh Allen had to do basically nothing. 13 of 19 for 139 yards. James Cook still killing it on the ground. But, I mean, this game was all down to just capitalizing on Dolphins turnovers. Because this game was, like we had mentioned, just a disaster for the Dolphins on all
Ugly.
fronts.
Worth,
And-
oh,
Oh,
go
good.
ahead. Okay, worth noting as well that this Bills offense looks entirely different now that they have a running back that they can rely on every single week. Like, if they had a guy like James Cook 3-4 years ago, we might be talking about this Bills core way differently, because I think with a guy like this, they might have been able to get past the Chiefs or the Bengals or anybody else they lost to in the last 4 or 5 years. But
Oh yeah.
maybe now that they have him, they can get past those teams. But man, it's almost like two ships passing each other in a weird way. Like if they had a guy like this while Stephon Diggs was there a couple years ago, oh man. But I don't know. We'll see what they can do with it. But
Yeah, Khalil
I don't know.
Shakir has also had a breakout couple of games.
Yeah,
The Bills to me feel like, because they lost a lot of big names on this team. Um, I feel like they don't have as many stars, but they're a much more balanced team this year. Like they don't have an obvious weakness, I feel like right now. Um, so it just pretty interesting. A lot of people predicted a regression, and through 2 games we've seen anything but that.
Yeah,
So
as he gets better, as that team starts to gel, I mean, they might finally slay the dragon and beat Kansas City, but we'll have to see how the season goes. But they look like a more well-rounded team than did
yeah.
in the past.
Not to mention they can always take some big swings at the trade deadline too.
Yeah,
which
So,
they've been
yeah.
known to do before.
Yeah.
And
If you do
not
that,
afraid
you
to
stay
by any
healthy.
means.
They'd definitely be a lock for the AFC title game.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the AFC title game, I was gonna say defending champs, but they lost. Last year's hosts of the AFC Championship game suffered a shocking loss to the Vegas Raiders, 26-23, in a game where it looked like the Ravens had it all figured out. For I believe the 9th time in the last 3 years, the Ravens coughed up a 10+ point or more fourth quarter lead to lose. How does this keep happening?
I don't know, but it's funny.
It is funny.
I mean,
oh god.
hell of a game for Devontae Adams. First off, probably one of his best games since coming to the Raiders. Hell of a game for Minshew. Breakout game for Brock Bowers. Like that. I mean, 26 points isn't like a whole lot, but if the Raiders offense can play like this every week, they can compete with just about anybody.
Yeah, I think the thing that surprises me most about the Raiders, and I think we talked, I feel like this is something that would have played last year too. So they're just gritty, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's a great moment in this game that I love, and I think this speaks a lot to the culture of the locker room, which was towards the end of the game when Minshew threw a pretty bad interception. And as the offense is walking on the field, you can see Max Crosby like stops him and like puts his arm on his shoulder, and you can see him say, "I got you, bro." And then sure enough, defense gets right off the field.
That was such a
Raiders,
stop, man.
yeah, Raiders get the ball back, go right down and score. So this, I don't know, man. It just gives me feelies.
There's a feeling of togetherness with the Raiders that they've been missing for a long time, it seems like.
Yeah,
And like
And
Max Crosby being the team captain on defense and Antonio Pierce instilling a new culture in that team, it seems to be gelling really, really well now. And if they can like string together a couple of games like this, they could again hang with anybody, maybe even be a contender in the AFC. But I think they're going to be fun to watch regardless, with the way that locker room seems to be coming together.
yeah, a take I might have that might be building as the season goes on is Antonio Pierce might have been a better pickup for the Raiders than Harbaugh was for the Chargers. I
it'll be
think,
it'll be interesting. I'll say that.
Potentially,
yeah.
I think actually I'll just save that for when we talk about the Chargers. But yeah, Antonio Pierce. I mean, this is like a signature type of win. But at the same time, like this is a signature of the Ravens over the last half decade. I mean, it's another second half collapse. And the most shocking thing about it is we had another missed field goal by Justin Tucker, who used to never miss. I mean, he's the most accurate kicker in NFL history. And that kicked off, really this Raiders comeback.
I saw something, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where through the first 2 weeks of the season, kickers around the NFL have only missed twice from more than 50 yards so far, and both of those misses are courtesy of Justin Tucker.
Wow.
That is wild. Yeah. Yeah, because the kicking has been really good this year.
It has.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember who it was, but last week drilled, I think, 3 from 50 plus.
Boswell.
You had,
Yeah, it was Boswell.
Yeah, I just don't know how to judge the Ravens right now either. I mean, it seems like when they get into these tough situations, they become extremely one-dimensional. They stop handing the ball off. Lamar stops running. They just become a pass-only team. And it really almost feels like, there's a lot of people who still doubt Lamar Jackson's proficiency as a passer. I'm not one of them, but it almost seems like when it gets down into it and they get into these close games, like John Harbaugh almost wants to prove a point. Or maybe Lamar wants to prove a point. And not use his legs. It's odd to me that this keeps happening.
Yeah, the last play of this game in particular, Lamar stepped back and he ran forward, and the middle of the field was empty. He could have. There were four defenders around the perimeter, but knowing Lamar, he can run past that. But instead, he goes to the left towards the sideline, forces himself to throw a lateral, and then gets picked up by Justice Hill, who then throws it forward, and the game's over. I
Yeah.
don't understand that kind of decision making, because now that's 2 weeks in a row with him doing that at the end of the game last week, and then this. I don't know if there's something going on with their playbook or something, but they're not the team that they were a couple years ago.
Well, even the game before that, the AFC title game, Lamar was mic'd up for it, and he basically did. I think he only ran like 3 or 4 times in the second half of that game, of the AFC title game, and the Chiefs were giving him open looks. And there's a clip of him on the sideline, and one of his teammates is telling him, like, "You can change this, dude. You can take over," and he just never did. It's just odd, because you look at Lamar's 2 MVP seasons that he's had, and he has been electric on the ground. He has this vast skill set, and when it comes down to it in these big games, it seems like they just don't use it. So I don't know. But at the same time, if fucking Isaiah Likely is wearing half a size shoe last week, we don't even think about this, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, they just lost a tough game.
Yeah.
But instead now they're staring down the barrel of 0-2, and they have the Cowboys this week. So who knows?
Well,
I think the way that they lost this game would still be talked about. I just don't think as much time would be spent on it if they had won last week, but that's now 2 very close losses in back-to-back weeks with multiple plays that, again, go differently, and they win both of them. And like I said in our preseason show a couple weeks ago, if this trend continues, I think the Ravens might need to start having some internal discussions about John Harbaugh and whether or not he will be staying there much longer, because I think again, if this trend continues with how talented of a roster this is and how many times now that they've come up just short, like, maybe it might be time for them to find a new guy to lead that team. Again, an overreaction for right now, but if we're back here at week 10 or so and they're sitting at like 3-7 or 4-6, I don't know, maybe.
yeah, these 2 games could definitely be the difference makers by the end of the season when it comes down to the division, because the AFC North is a bloodbath. You can win that division at 10-7 or 9-8, and these 2 games might be that difference between them making it and them finishing second or third in that division.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dewey, you did call that last week. Or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I can't remember. With the whole, like, John Harbaugh hot seat watch. And like a prime example is they're missing a timeout at the end of this game because of that ridiculous Devontae Adams catch on the sideline. and it was the like Mike Tomlin style of like, well, I don't like this play, so I'm gonna challenge it,
Yeah.
even though it was clear as day it was not gonna get overturned. And they cost them a timeout, and then at the end of the game, they have to
They
go
don't
into
have
that.
that timeout.
Yeah, they have to go into that crazy lateral play rather than having more time to work with. So
Yeah. It's just
uh,
not good management.
I believe there was a fourth down or a turnover on downs at the end of this game, or towards the end of this game as well.
I think there was a
Um,
pick near the end because I saw
Oh,
Steeler
yes,
legend Robert Spillane pick off Lamar there.
yeah, you were
And
right in the third
my
quarter.
first thought seeing him come down with the ball was, he's still in the league?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was Raiders Ravens. Speaking of Harbaugh, we're going to talk about Jim now since we were mentioning AFC West coaching pickups. The Chargers rolled over the Panthers 26-3. The storyline coming out of this game very well could be that Jim Harbaugh has made Justin Herbert boring, but honestly, this is a game where Justin Herbert just kind of had to do the minimum because, good God, the Panthers. We thought it couldn't get worse after last week, and it already did. Look at us, looking good, putting them on Dunyan rings after 1 week.
The Panthers
Where to start?
suck.
They
Sometimes
do.
being boring is enough.
Yeah. Bryce Young was 18 of 26 which is a pretty good completion percentage for 84 yards and an interception.
3.2 yards of completion.
His longest completed pass was 12 yards, I believe.
Yeah, and the Chargers are 2-0 for the first time since fucking 2012. And that was Norv Turner's last year with the Chargers.
Good
Oh my
lord.
God.
It's been a while.
What did the 2012 Chargers do?
I think they're like 8-8 or 7-9 or something.
They went
finished
7-9.
7-9.
Sounds about Chargers.
Yep. God, yeah. I mean, this is a game where J.K. Dobbins just ran the ball down their throat. 17 carries for 131 yards and a touchdown. Gus Edwards also 18 carries for 59 yards.
Yet J.K. Dobbins leads the league in rushing yards after the first 2 weeks, and he has just over half the amount of completions as about everybody else on the list.
Oh my gosh.
He has been an absolute stud so far, and like, it's a shame we could never see this while he was in Baltimore, because I think we'd be having much different conversations about the Ravens had Dobbins been healthy for those key games that we were just talking about. But now that he's over in LA as the number one running option, it's looking beautiful for him, and I'm honestly really happy for him with all the injuries he's had.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Harbaugh did tell him no flips into the end zone after scoring, because when you've had the number of injuries you have, and then he somersaulted into the end zone celebratory, and he was like, "Hey, can you not?" So, yeah, there's been a lot of bad Bryce Young Panthers games, but it's like I don't know if we want to talk about the coaching decision that was made after this game until later, but this was like a particularly bad one, and he's almost gotten worse.
It's
He
impressive.
looks scared out there.
He really does.
There's just no confidence.
Yeah, and I mean, his last pass of the game, and maybe of his Panthers career, was like him jumping to throw from a clean pocket because he's just not feeling confident. It reminds me a lot, honestly, of when Baker was here, and Baker was having his passes batted down constantly, and he just looked completely fucking scrambled every time he was in the pocket. And I don't know how the Panthers plan to fix him, because Dave Canales was brought in to fix him, and I mean, this is start number 18, and he's been benched now for Andy Dalton, which is the right call. But this is, I believe, like as far back as I can remember, the fastest a first overall pick has ever been benched.
I looked up or did some stat comparisons on Pro Football Reference the other day, and through the first 18 games of their careers, Bryce Young's stats are directly comparable to those of Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, and I
It's not been good.
I remember early or like going into last year, you could run the same thing for Zach Wilson. But Zach Wilson still had, he had that Chiefs game where he genuinely outplayed Patrick Mahomes. And they had that game against the Eagles where he played really solidly and the defense capitalized. Or the Bronco game, right? Where they like Zach Wilson has had good games. Bryce Young has been terrible the whole time he's been there. And like obviously there was the concerns about his size. The problem is like when he doesn't have confidence, what does he bring to the table? And I don't say that to be like derogatory towards him. It's just like at this point from a football perspective, you can't justify him being the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think benching him was a good move. I think
Yeah.
he could still be a good quarterback. He's obviously rattled right now. Like, that's just how it is. I think it's an organizational point on the Panthers that Bryce Young has been developed this poorly. He's already had coaching turnover, and they really haven't done anything to make his situation better. It might
Yeah.
be a change of scenery that makes him at least serviceable. Doesn't have to
Yeah.
be good. He just has to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
He
It's
has
not
to
like
be an
size
NFL
matters.
caliber quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like
And I
size
mean-
matters anymore with like Kyler Murray out there having to wear stilts in the pocket,
Yeah, I mean Drew Brees was only like 5'11", 5'10". He's
Yeah.
bulkier, but I mean Drew Brees is one of the most accurate passers of all time, and he couldn't see over the line.
Yeah.
Doug
You have
Flutie was what 5'7", and was like he wasn't consistently successful, but had some success everywhere he went.
Yeah. You just have
Grey
to
Cup
build your team
champion
around the
Doug
kind of player
Flutie.
you have.
Yeah,
And I think that
Um,
it just starts from the top of the Panthers with their shitty ass owner. Puts a stink on everything. It's how Washington was until Dan Snyder sold the team. I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
just going to stay like this until they sell.
Also, Doug Flutie was 5'10". Sorry, correction there. What was I gonna say?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
the-
Dewey.
The Panthers, I said it last week and I'm saying it again. Like, the more I watch this team, the more they really do look like the White Sox right now. Like,
Yeah.
it's like they're in almost the exact same situation where they're just a very, very untalented team with an absolute dog shit owner and a lack of draft capital to help rebuild your team. It's like, what the hell do you even do from here? Like,
Yeah, they're still giving up their second rounder next year.
yeah, the Bryce Young trade still is not going to be completed for another year, and the Bears already have a franchise quarterback, a franchise wide receiver, and a franchise offensive tackle out of it, and they could even add another piece like that with that remaining pick, and the guy that they did it for has now been benched after week 2 in his second season for a guy that's like 37, so I don't know. I don't
The
know,
thi-
but
I
it's
think
not good.
the most interesting way to look at this too is obviously Dave Canales was brought here to fix Bryce Young, and 2 games in he's benching him. And a lot of people see this as like he's losing the locker room because this guy can't play. And I mean, we saw a prime example. Adam Thielen is like one of the all-time great good dudes in the NFL. And Bryce Young scrambling for his life. I'm pretty sure it was that sack on third down he took where he like scrambled out to his left.
Oh my god.
Thielen was wide
It's-
open.
That one
And
was really bad.
yeah, Thielen was wide open, and Bryce Young just never found him. And Thielen like took his helmet off and slammed it on the ground, which it says a lot. And I think Dave Canales is looking at this and is like, I can't lose the locker room after 2 games, and I know who my owner is, and I can't, if we continue to be this bad, I'm on the chopping block because David Tepper has not. He's fired coaches midseason 2 years in a row. So it's just
sad.
Yeah,
it's
a
sad
mess.
because for the on-field product, it's the right decision to make, but like that's got to be an absolute confident. Like I'm sure Bryce Young's lost a lot of confidence in how he's played, but like that's got to be the nail in the coffin for his confidence level right now with this team.
Yeah.
He was basically handed the keys to a jalopy from the 70s that's got issues all over the place, and I just hope he's not too hard on himself for how this has all turned out. Obviously, there have been plenty of chances and instances where he could have made a better decision to make a better play, but again, I just hope that when the dust settles for all of this and wherever this goes, he doesn't get too hard on himself and be too much of a downer, because not all of this is on him, and it never will be.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So who knows what the future holds? But Panthers are in a very dark spot right now.
Yeah.
One team that is not making us all look like idiots. The New Orleans Saints beat the Dallas Cowboys 44-19.
What the fuck?
Derek Carr has taken the field basically, or I believe has gone on the field with the offense 15 times, and they've scored all 15 times.
Yeah,
this Saints offense is unbelievable.
a scoregami score also, we should add.
That's right.
Already 2 on the year.
For 2 games into the season, Derek Carr has a touchdown percentage of 12.8% this year.
That is insane.
That's twice as high as his career best. This team is scary.
So it turns out firing their offensive coordinator after last year might be one of the greatest decisions a front office has ever made in the NFL.
Yeah, it
Because
turns
Clint
out
Kubiak has got this team firing on every cylinder fucking possible.
if you have a guy who is publicly I don't want to be offensive coordinator, and then they make him offensive coordinator, and then he starts taking schematic suggestions from reporters the week before a game, maybe that's not your guy. And
who could have thought?
Yeah, so this is the Saints drive summary for this game. Touchdown, 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 interception, punt, field goal, end of game.
It's a hell of a game. Short form NFL.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
As it turns out, too, which a lot of people have been saying, Alvin Kamara has not been washed. He just doesn't have an offensive line or, a passing game worth respecting, because he had 115 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. And then also 2 receptions for 65 yards and another touchdown through the air.
Yeah, and Rashid Shaheed, kind of fucking good. I admittingly, I don't know a lot about him, or I don't know where he went to college or anything like that, but holy shit, this guy's fucking fun to watch.
Wait, I got to do the math on this real quick. Hang on. So Derek Carr only threw the ball 16 times. He was averaging 2.75 points every time he threw the ball.
Yeah, 15.2 yards per completion.
They're averaging 4 points per completion.
That is actually unreal. Hell, Derek Carr ran for a touchdown in this game too.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so I've always been a Derek Carr believer. I was on that train in 2021 on this show. There's something that somebody's pointing out, Derek Carr at one point was considered to be elite. I mean, like I've mentioned, he was the highest paid quarterback in the league for a hot minute. And people were talking about, you ever think about, he's basically never had a good coach, because he, when he comes out of the draft in 2014, Dennis Allen is his head coach before he gets fired, and then Tony Sperano takes over. The guy
Del Rio?
Yeah, and then it was Jack Del Rio after that, and he had that near MVP season in 2016.
That was still a shame what happened to him in that year.
Yeah, and then
that Raiders team I think could have potentially gone to the Super Bowl.
He has John Gruden as his coach, and they're hit or miss. Then he finally gets a good coach in Rich Bisaccia, and look what happens. They go to the playoffs. Derek Carr was fucking money in 2021. And then he has to deal with Josh McDaniels after that. Like,
And then Dennis Allen again.
yeah. It's like
He
he
made
Okay.
a Pro Bowl with Josh McDaniels,
Yeah. Oh god,
Like,
wait, what year was that?
2022.
Yeah, that was the one year that Carr and Adams were together.
Oh, that's right.
You know.
Oh my
honestly-
god, was that the year that Tyler Huntley was also in the Pro Bowl?
Yes, it
Yes.
was. It's speaking of that, by the way, it is still a shame that we never got to see the best of what Carr and Adams could have been together.
Oh, 100%.
There was
I mean,
so much hype around that. We hyped the fuck out of that, and it was deserved with how good they were together in college. And it's like, man, I wish they got more than, like, what was it, 13 or 14 games together in the league
something
before.
like that, yeah.
Man,
Well, like, that's the interesting thing of how Devontae Adams is still in Vegas, and he went there specifically to play with Derek Carr. Like, he said that outright. I want to go to Vegas because I want to play with Derek Carr. And then they got rid of Derek Carr, and he's still there.
and he's still playing just as well,
Yeah.
if not better.
So, on the other side of the ball, I mean, it's, I guess, I mean, this is the ultimate litmus test, right? If you beat the Cowboys, you're a good team. Because the Cowboys never beat good teams. And if Dak Prescott turns the ball over multiple times, it's like, oh, that's a pretty good team, isn't it? Because he had 2 interceptions. He also threw for almost 300 yards. But I gotta
Oh,
get my
what to think of
narratives
the
in.
Cowboys right now?
I think you can pencil them in for 10 wins and a wild card round loss.
Well, I mean, are the Saints just riding a hot wave that's going to come crashing down at some point, and they're going to end up back where we thought they were going to be, and then the Cowboys just suck? Or are both of these teams just really good, and it just wasn't the Cowboys' day?
I think a lot of
y-
people forgot
Go-
that the Saints picked up Chase Young last year. Like, that
Oh
team
my
is
god,
good.
they did.
That
fucking
team
forgot-
is
Jesus.
good.
Yeah, there's a lot more talent on the Saints than I think we remember. Tyrann Matthews still there. Cameron Jordan's still there. I mean, they still have Chris Olave.
They drafted
Um,
Kool-Aid McKinstry, too. I already forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, like we mentioned, Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams are both there. Taysom Hill is
Taysom
going
Hill
to be a
exists.
kicker at some point, probably.
Put him on the
Uh,
line.
On his
Yeah.
George Blanda arc.
You got skinny ass Blake Groupie, who looks like a toddler out there punting or kicking. He looks like if I was on the Saints.
Wow, that's insanely accurate. Holy
Wow,
shit.
that is a pencil neck.
Dude,
He looks like Ty Gibbs.
I put him in a thumbnail last year. Like, he looks so funny with football pads on because his helmet is so big compared to the rest of his body.
That is a child. That is crazy.
Yeah. I don't remember what I was saying. But yeah, Saints are I just like every year I'm like, this has got to be the year the Saints finally like fall apart, and they're like, no, we're gonna win 8 games and you can't stop us.
Are they still in cap hell?
Apparently not, because I mean, look at the fucking talent they have.
Yeah,
I
guess
mean,
they're-
last year they went into the week 18 with a shot at making the playoffs, and we totally forgot about that.
Oh my god, they did. The NFC South was just cursed as hell last year.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it's looking like 3 powerhouse teams in that division.
Yeah, 91 points through 2 games, and they've allowed only 29. They have like a plus 60 point differential through 2 weeks.
Just truly absurd. Do we want to get to the last team or the third team in the AFC South or NFC South? God, I can't speak right now. Words.
Yeah,
'Cause
this
this
one was
team-
interesting.
Also might be a juggernaut because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went into Detroit and beat the Lions 20-16 in a game where the Lions dominated on the stat sheet. It was mistakes, it was gambles, turnovers, and the Buccaneers took full advantage of that with a gritty Baker Mayfield performance. Yeah, I was a little bullish on the Bucks coming into this year, but I might be sold after this one. I think they might just be really good.
Yeah, they avenged their divisional round loss, which they almost won last year.
Yep.
So yeah, the NFL scheduling gods gifted the Lions with back-to-back playoff rematches to start their season, and they split those two, which honestly for them is okay, I think. But for the Bucks, man, I mean, Baker turns out has wheels that he just
Dude, right?
sometimes decides to put on display, and sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, sometimes he just grits it out and because it's not pretty the way he runs.
But it works.
But it works. Yeah, this was an ugly Jared Goff game. 2 interceptions. I mean, he threw for 300 yards, but there were some errant throws. The interception down by the goal line where there was nobody within 15 yards on his team at the pass was very ugly. You had a gamble on 4th and 8 in the red zone that didn't pay off. It's just mistakes because, like I mentioned, they dominated this game on the stat sheet. Amon-Ra St. Brown went for almost 120 yards through the air. Jahmyr Gibbs at 84 on the ground. They ran a fake punt on 4th and 12 that didn't work.
That worked. They
did
they
it?
converted that.
Yeah, they converted
Oh,
it.
sorry, I'm thinking of a different play.
Yeah, the punter got 20 yards on that through the air.
I love Dan Campbell, so I'm not going to criticize him for going for it ever. But a lot of people have been on his case about it. And I'm like, you know what? I like sicko football. Fuck punting.
Yeah.
I would also like to direct our attention to the Lions defense just briefly. Despite them losing, Aiden Hutchinson had 4.5 sacks in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
He's kind of fucking good. Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a tad. Yeah, I mean, it's like what I was saying. You look at the stat sheet of this game and you're like, how on earth did the Lions lose this game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Costly
God.
turnovers.
Yep. Turnovers, failures on 4th down. I mean, they were 3 of 5, but those 2 ended up biting them big time. I'm not concerned. I'm not panicking about the Lions.
No.
It's
No,
week
not at
2,
all.
and I think this is just going to show that it's the Bucks are actually very good, as it turns out.
I just think this was 2 teams that are both capable of making the AFC Championship or NFC Championship game. That one of them just happened to get the best of the other one this time.
Yeah. I could see this
a
being a
bump in the
rematch
road.
in the playoffs again.
Yeah.
Bucks Lions, new rivalry. Baker Mayfield
down.
versus Jared Goff.
I think
Weren't
that'd be
the
a
Bucks,
fun one.
prior to last year, weren't the Bucks more recent winners of the NFC North than the Lions?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, they were.
Yep. They're gonna take it back. We're trading them for the Bears. So the Buccaneers advance to 2-0. The Lions fall to 1-1. Speaking of the NFC North, how about Malik Willis? In a game where he was essentially told, don't fuck it up. Not only did he not fuck it up, 12 of 14 for 120 yards, a touchdown, and the Packers defeat the Colts 16-10. I feel like a lot of us were smashing the panic button, but good God, did Matt LaFleur dial up a game plan for this one? Because there's another truly ridiculous stat line in this game.
Yeah, that's called give Josh Jacobs the rock 32 times for 151 yards.
Good Lord. I think that was Malik Willis' first career touchdown pass, too, in this game.
Yes, it was.
I don't think he threw one at all with the
God.
Titans.
I don't think he ever won a game for the Titans either.
No. But on the other side, though, this is an insane missed opportunity for the Colts.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
What a fucking letdown of a game this was. I'm not gonna, obviously we all thought the Colts were going to win because without Jordan Love, we didn't know what the Packers are going to be able to do on offense. But, I mean, even though Malik Willis had, a pretty decent game, I would say, where do the Colts, go with this because it was just an ugly game from Anthony Richardson. There were a lot of mistakes, costly interceptions. It just looked like shit.
It's just a good old fashioned trap game.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
didn't. They thought they were gonna walk over them, and they got shut up.
I think the thing too is, I mean, Anthony Richardson barely played last year, and he was never. I mean, how he only had one full season as a starter in college, so he hasn't had a ton of consistency basically since he was in high school. Um, so like you're seeing those plays where you're like, holy shit, this guy is unreal. And there's a lot of bad surrounding it. And it reminds me of like a more extreme version of Josh Allen when he first came into the league. Because everybody who watched Josh Allen in his rookie year was like, Jesus Christ, this guy can throw the ball 80 yards. But he would also just completely miss dudes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is definitely something worth developing here.
For sure.
But yeah, it's games like this that are gonna make you scratch your head. Because like you mentioned, those 3 interceptions were very ugly. But he also threw for 200 plus yards. So it's really hard to be down, or for me at least, it's hard to be really down on this. I think it doesn't help that, you got a really reliable veteran in Gardner Minshew starting the majority of last year. And I I think this is still a work in progress, this team is.
Yeah, that was his 6th career game. Like,
Yeah.
he's still learning. Once he gets the rust off, and once he adapts to a pro offense, he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I think so too. Like what he needs is consistency. He needs to be able to reel it in. And I think that's going to come with time, especially with Joe Flacco as his backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any doubt about that. I just think when you look at how he played last week and how close they were able to play a team as good as the Texans were, just to follow that up with a game like this, I think just kind of, threw some people off. But yeah, even though this is technically year 2, he's effectively still a rookie with how little he played, and so you're probably going to still see like rookie mistakes throughout the season. But like, once next season rolls around, I think we're going to be talking about Anthony Richardson a whole lot differently, and I think as we should. But
Yeah.
it might be a bit of a rocky stretch for the Colts as he tries to figure that shit out still.
I would
A
also
little
like
bit
to
of
point
a
out,
disappointing end though.
yeah, I'd like to also point out, coming into this year, a lot of people were like, who is the Packers' number 1 receiver? As it turns out, it's Romeo Doubs. 3 catches for 62 yards. He has definitely been their go-to receiving threat so far this year. So keep an eye on that.
I think him, Jaden Reed, and Dontavian Wicks all could make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean
all 3 of them are that good.
Yeah, their whole receiver core is like a bunch of number 2s and 3s. And so Dobbs, I think, has definitely shown that he's kind of broken out of the pack as like their go-to guy.
The number 1 guy, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Packers even up their record at 1-1. All of a sudden, maybe this is sustainable. Maybe not panicking right now, as even Jordan Love's injury might not be as bad as people thought. A team that is panicking though. Oh, what were you gonna say?
They just got to survive through this stretch, and they'll just be fine.
Yeah.
If they can make it through at 500, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. A team that is panicking though, also from the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars, because they lose to the Cleveland Browns 18-13. And on a day where they christened their stadium Trevor Bank Field, it all went haywire. It was not good, and
No. He honored that by going 14 of 30.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm pretty sure it was raining. The weather didn't look good. But
This is just an ugly game.
Yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence. I think even if he's not the generational type talent like he was hyped up to be, I still think he's a very good quarterback. The questionable thing was Doug Peterson in this game, because there were some baffling decisions made by the Jags, most notably on the safety of Trevor Lawrence, which already like pretty bad play call from your own end zone to set up a safety. And then as we know, safety, you have to free kick it off to the other team. And they tried calling an onside punt, which I don't think you can do. And the Browns returner just fair caught it, so the Jags couldn't do anything about it. So I don't know what's going on. I like Doug Peterson, but dude is like, this reminds me a lot of that 2020 Eagles team where
Yeah, it does.
Carson Wentz completely fell apart and Doug Peterson refused to adapt anything he was doing to what his quarterback was capable of doing. And yeah, I kind of didn't get why people thought he would be on the hot seat after last year, because it really seemed like injuries did them in. But I believe the Jags have won one of their last 9 games now. So
Yeah,
Yikes.
Not good.
I think we might need to. I think we might need to put him on hot seat watch here.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the panic button is out of the drawer. It's on the desk right now. I am not hitting it yet, but it's there. I'm looking at it.
Now, the one thing I will give them a reprieve on is Cleveland's defense is a buzzsaw right now.
That is true.
It's been glossed over because Deshaun Watson's a piece of shit human being and he should burn in hell. But the rest of that team is pretty damn good. You know,
Yep.
4 different players got a sack in that game. Myles Garrett is unreal. You know, you
Yeah.
go in, it says they're playing the Browns. It's like, oh, it's the Browns. But you have to remember, they're not really a bad team besides
No.
Groper
They're
Cleveland
not the
at the helm
Browns
of
that
it.
we knew of as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even this game, Deshaun just played very conservative and let guys like Jerome Ford and on the ground, and Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore, their new acquisitions in the offseason through the air, kind of carry the water for their offense.
And it worked.
Yep. Oh, good.
I mean, speaking of adapting, if they can win football games by having Deshaun Watson play like this, well, maybe this is just how you utilize Deshaun Watson from now on.
Yeah.
For as long as they can.
Well, right, yeah.
I just have a feeling if they can get out of that contract, if they can get a half-decent quarterback, they'll be right back in the fight for the...
Yeah, I mean, look at last year. They got, Joe Flacco had been, had a few good games with the Jets. They were a functional offense with him at the helm. They put him in there and they become a playoff team.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm not wishing injury or ill will on anybody, but I have a curiosity to see how Jameis Winston would do if he started a game with this team.
Oh,
God,
I'll
that-
cheer for injuries if you don't want to. I hope
Like-
TJ Watt snaps his leg like a toothpick so we see Jameis.
But yeah, like I'd love to see Jameis get a chance with this offense at some point, just to see what happens.
I think if it comes down to mid-season and the team is strong, but Deshaun's struggling, I think you will see Jameis at some point.
That potential connection from Winston to
Jeudy.
Judy or Cooper would be nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do got to talk about, too, the end of this game, the dropped Hail Mary that, the pass was in the end zone. It made it there. And I can't remember who it was who got his hands on the ball. But two things, basically 2 scoring chances that changed that is in the fourth quarter. At the end of the third quarter, the Jags miss a 43-yard field goal that would have made it a 2-point game at the end. And then they give up the safety in their own end zone, which makes it a 2-score game. Either of those things change, the Jaguars are lining up to kick a field goal and winning this game, more than likely. Or even then, if you reverse the nature of both of those 2 plays, that's a 5-point swing. They lost by 5 points. They're lining up to kick a game-winning field goal at the end of this. So it's execution. Again, it's a thing that we always talk about where it doesn't really matter how much talent you put on this team. If you're not buttoned up, you're not going to win football games.
Yeah.
So, and the Browns are a very well coached very well coached team. So,
Definitely.
speaking of good coaching, I unfortunately didn't have time to make the theme song, but don't worry, there will be one in the future. Because our boy, Sam Darnold, got revenge on his old team that refused to put him in the Super Bowl. This is a narrative I'm refusing to let die. The Minnesota Vikings beat the San Francisco 49ers 23-17. Our boy, Sam Darnold, is undefeated.
Yeah.
I've
Wow.
been waiting so long for this. I used to pray for times like this. You just have to go straight to the elephant in the room, that pass to Justin Jefferson.
That was fucking unbelievable. I didn't know he had that in him. I'm
Shit.
sorry, I was unfamiliar with your game. Like, that might be genuinely one of the greatest passes I've ever seen live.
That rules. Yeah, no, I mean, everybody, every Jets fan I feel like has always maintained, they're like, man, if you just gave Sam Darnold a good team. And we're seeing it. 17-26 for 268 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception, but nobody's perfect. Ty
So did
Chandler had
Purdy.
82 yards on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, this was another good game by Jordan Mason as well. 100 yards on the ground. Debo had Debo had 110 through the air as well. But the big takeaway from this is much like their division rivals, a lot of 49ers hurt that are key to this team. I mean, McCaffrey's already out. Debo's going to be out, which, by the way, the announcement graphic for it I thought was really funny because it just said like Debo Samuel out for a few weeks. Like
I think Kittle got hurt in this game too, but he came back in at some point.
Yep.
Like, they're getting a little banged up right now.
I think
Definitely.
that's just one of
Go-
those things after having such a long season the year before.
Yeah.
It's finally catching up to them.
Definitely gonna, and it's
And-
gonna test how deep they are as a roster too.
Since they got a new running back out of cryogenic storage in Jordan Mason, it's not like it's a serious problem. But, you want your good guys ready for the playoffs. But if it's still that next man up mentality, whoever they put in there is just going to keep doing what they need him to do.
Kyle Shanahan. He's like with finding undrafted running backs. I gotta make this now. It's like the SpongeBob meme of where he's like smashing the clock, and the clock is Christian McCaffrey. And Kyle Shanahan is just Squidward opening up the door to the closet full of more undrafted running backs.
It's actually insane how many of them he's had, and how so many of them are this good.
Yeah, it's just unreal. Like, it's like how the Steelers constantly provide or produce good receivers that they then trade to other people to be shitty.
Can't keep getting away with this.
It's like planting a bomb in another roster. It's pretty great.
Sleeper agent Chase Claypool.
It's like when the Patriots traded fucking, who was it they traded to the Jets in 2020, and then he immediately got COVID and got everybody on the team sick.
Oh, who the hell was it? Braxton Berrios?
No, it was I think
who was
this guy who
it?
passed away a couple years
Demaryius
ago.
Thomas.
Yeah, it's Demaryius Thomas. That's who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they traded him, and then all of a sudden, I think it was I think Sam Darnold got COVID or something like that, and they were like, "That son of a bitch, Belichick planted it in him." Oh no, it was when Darnold got mono. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's it. That is still
mononucleosis.
That's still one of the
Outed,
greatest
definitely.
graphics that's ever been made.
This out.
Yeah.
We gotta edit that. The Vikings absolutely need to do a photo shoot of Sam Darnold in that same pose, which just says 2-0. Oh man.
Besides that, I mean, Niners defense did what they could. Vikings
Yeah.
defense was pretty good.
The unstoppable force that is Sam Darnold, unfortunately, was on the other side of the field.
Yeah,
think
if
this
you had
is-
told me that the Vikings would have had sole possession of first place after week 2, I would have not believed you at all. But yet here we are.
It's unreal because there's that tweet where it's like all the other NFC North teams and then the Vikings, and it's like SpongeBob in the like fucking horror game or whatever. And now it's like, look where they are.
But also on the flip side, I also wouldn't have believed you if you said the Niners were not first.
Yeah, that is pretty nuts to think about.
Because the next game involved the team that is first, and I am immensely disappointed.
Yep. The Seattle Seahawks went into Foxborough. It took a while. It took overtime, but Seahawks came out on top, 23-20. Dewey, I believe you were our infield reporter for this game. Take us through it.
Yeah, pain is what I had in this game. So it should be noted that like the Patriots defense overall did have a very good game, and Keon White is that fucking dude. 4 sacks through 2 weeks, tied for second in the league already. But man, Geno Smith just had it fucking going on. Like this is probably one of the best games he's had since going to the Seahawks. DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba both had monster fucking games, and the defense just had no answer for them whatsoever. And
Geno season came early this year.
but the one play in this game that drove me up a fucking wall, I can't remember when it was, but Metcalf lined up on the left side of the field. Christian Gonzalez and I can't remember the other defender were both dropped back into coverage. And then they both just stopped. Like they dropped back maybe 8 or 9 steps, stopped. DK Metcalf just kept running right past them both, and Geno hit him for a fucking 56-yard bomb down the sideline for a touchdown. And it just, I could not wrap my head around how you have a defensive breakdown like that. It ended up being the difference in the game, because if that didn't happen, the Patriots would have won this game in regulation. But instead, it ended up equalizing the score at the time, and obviously Geno just had it going on throughout the whole game, but the last drive in regulation where they tied it on a field goal and the drive in overtime where they won it was just infuriating to watch, because every time they got to third down, it got to the point where you knew they were going to complete it and convert it, and that they weren't going to get a stop anymore, which sucked. And the offense for the Pats also was ice fucking cold in the second half, besides the one touchdown. So on one hand, like, it was a winnable game, and it sucks they didn't win it, but I thought genuinely they'd be 0-2 after 2 weeks, so the fact that they're not is still kind of cool. But the Seahawks are 2-0, which is kind of nuts, and they're the only team that's 2-0. Are they kind of good?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
A little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
There is a moment in this game that's very funny, and I'm trying to find the full clip of it, but it was when Ramondre Stevenson ran for a touchdown at a Wildcat.
Yeah.
So Jacoby Brissett lines up out wide at receiver and Ramondre under center. And then Ramondre like looks over to Brissett, like waiting for the snap. And Brissett kind of looks at him like, "Dog, you're the quarterback. What are you doing?" And then he's like, "Oh yeah." And then, then he calls for it. It was really funny.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett only had 149 yards in this game. 109 of them went to Hunter Henry alone. Was
Good
probably
God.
his best game as a Patriot.
Yeah.
Which, if he can do that every week, they at least have a fighting chance, I think. But I think there's a lot to take away that's good as a Pats fan and as a Seahawks fan. But there's also some real head scratching stuff that if it had gone differently, the Pats could have been sitting here 2-0. So
Yeah, the Patriots have been a pleasant surprise this year.
Happy.
And one of the pleasant surprises, they brought back the silver pants for this game, which I was very happy about because I don't like them.
Thank fuck. Because those I'm gonna just be on a fucking soapbox for a second. Their current uniforms are fucking terrible. I can't
Agreed.
stand them. They suck. They're lazy. They're uninspired. They need to fucking change them to something better and bury these like 25 miles underground. However, the silver pants are cool.
Yeah.
They needed a rebrand, and what they came up with blows mud.
Yes.
So
It
they
was,
should
it
do
was
it. Do it
literally
again.
just their color rush uniforms, and they were like, "Ah, fuck it,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
different
then, we
enough."
got these laying around still. Might as well use them.
Yeah. If they just did something like I like the blue and silver. It's a very 90s look, but I'm like, oh, whatever. It still looks okay, I guess. It's just like a gripe that I have is they have the logo on the side of the helmet and then also on the sleeves. The Panthers do that too, and it's really fucking annoying. Like, I don't know, move the stripes there. And then you just have like a classic looking uniform, just in like navy blue and silver.
Yeah, they're trying to do too many different things with it. It just does not look good.
So, yeah. Fuck, I can't speak. The Seahawks did look good. And words, fuck, what was the next game? God, I am all scrambled. Speaking of the AFC East, I don't know. The New York Jets got off the mat. They get to 1-1 with a 24-17 win over the Titans in Tennessee.
Unfortunately.
Death, taxes, and Will Levis doing something stupid with the ball at a critical moment.
God.
The guarantees in life. We might have a new Jameis Winston, a new funniest quarterback in the league.
Yeah, we are 2 weeks into the season, and I think Will Levis has the funniest turnover in both weeks.
The best part too
What
is
the
like
fuck was that?
he's played pretty well both weeks, and then just like he completely loses his mind at the most inopportune time. This time it was like him scrambling, and he tries to while going down like a backwards shovel pass.
God.
That ends up being a fumble. Oh boy.
I get it if it's the end of the game, but with 8.5 minutes left in a second, and you're doing some shit like that,
Like, just take the sack at that point.
Yeah.
just fall down. He lost yards doing that.
It reminded me of that playoff game between the Bills and the Texans, where Josh Allen had that long run and then he just fucking lateraled it for no reason.
Oh my god.
And everybody was like, "Josh, what on earth are you doing?"
Or Jameis in the Rose Bowl running backwards and then just throwing it in the air.
Whoa!
That's an all-time Jameis moment.
Oh my god.
That's a good one.
Yeah, their first 5 drives are very fun. I think they had 6, or not their first. Oh no, they started with a punt and a touchdown, and then after that, fumble, interception, field goal, punt, blocked punt. Just a disastrous stretch for the Titans, which is wild because the Jets' offense really could not do much most of this game. Rodgers still looks like he's a little hesitant with that that Achilles that he's coming back from. But it was after the blocked punt that they score a field goal, and then finally on their final drive of the game, they put it all together, and Rodgers drives him down for a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers also had a pretty funny quote after this game. I don't know if you guys heard it, but a reporter asked him how much it meant for him to get his first win as a Jet, and he was like, "It's technically my second. Had those 4 very important plays last year." So I got a kick out of that. Yeah, I mean, this would be a disaster if the Jets lost this game. Rodgers finally gets in, and they're 0-2. I know the Titans have a very good defense, as we're now seeing. And they honestly might be a friskier team than we're expecting. But I think this is definitely... What was that?
Said 0-2 is 0-2 though for them.
Yeah. So, and especially considering how the AFC playoff race might, the wild card race might play out, and with the Texans off to the start that they are, this could get ugly fast.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, ugly for everybody in the AFC South that's not the Texans at this point.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually, yeah, that is right, because the other 3 teams are all 0-2, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, I mean, out of those 4 teams, I mean, with how much of a mess the Jaguars look like right now and how inconsistent the Colts are, I mean, the Titans, I feel like the Titans might honestly be closer to a wild card team than either of them right now.
I think they have a more talented roster than both of those. Like Tony Pollard so far, I think has been one of the best signings of any team all offseason. He has regained some of his old form that he had with the Cowboys and has added another dimension to this offense that the Titans have not had for a while. Like obviously having Derrick Henry has been a massive boost to that offense, but like it's been a while since that team has had a running back that can catch and create his own kind of plays the way Tony Pollard can.
This team is sneaky talented. I mean, they picked up
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley as well. They have Tyler Boyd, who was a standout receiver for the Bengals for a number of years. And like we mentioned, a very good defense. So I think this is one of those teams that we definitely counted out during the offseason.
Yeah, they also have DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins is still there.
It's going to be the best team of 2019, I'm telling you.
I mean, previously they were the best team in 2016, so they're
That's true.
making progress.
They're making, yeah.
They're almost in the 2020s.
They're getting there, yeah.
Any day now. Yeah, the Jets advanced to 1-1. I don't really have much else to say about this game.
Yeah, it's AFC South football,
yeah,
also known as
football.
who cares.
Hopefully
What
this
could
is
also-
hopefully this is the only win of the season for the Jets. We can only hope.
No,
Yeah,
I hope they win
1-16.
2 more games.
Oh, fuck you, pal.
What could be more sicko than AFC South football? That's right, it's NFC East football.
Oh my
Because
fucking god.
The New York Giants made history.
Bad history.
The New York Giants, the first team in NFL history to score 3+ touchdowns and not allow a touchdown and lose. The Commies, our team, kicked 7 field goals, and while the Giants went into a game knowing that their kicker was hurt and then basically lost him on the first play of the game, had to, Graham Gano entered this game with an injury. They knew about it. He got hurt. I think it was on the opening kickoff.
Jesus Christ.
Daniel Jones leads them down to score a touchdown. He misses the extra point. He leaves the game with injury. They then go for 2 on the next 2 attempts and fail both of them, leaving them on 18 points. The Commies, meanwhile, kicked 6 field goals in regulation to send it to overtime, and then from there kicked a 7th to win 21-18. And then you saw Brian Dable spike his headset into the ground. The Brian Dable experience is very quickly spiraling out of control in New York.
It should be noted as well that Austin Seibert, who was the kicker for the Commies in this game that had those 7 field goals, was not on the team the previous Sunday. Like, Cade York missed both of his field goal attempts for the Commies in week 1, so they cut him and signed Austin Seibert, like, I think it was last Tuesday. So this was his first game for the team and tied the franchise record for field goals in a game in his very first appearance for them.
The best part about this, too, is the approach that both teams took to this left literally no wiggle room for the Commies, because here's their drive summary for the game, okay? Field goal, field goal, field goal, and then kneel to end the half. Field goal, field goal, field goal, field goal. They never punted. They never turned the ball over. They scored every single time they had the ball. Meanwhile, the Giants had a fumble, a turnover on downs, and 2 punts. And that left literally the smallest amount of space for the Commanders to get back into this game, and they took it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels, pretty goddamn good game.
Yeah.
Still hasn't scored a touchdown. No rookie quarterback has, which we'll get to that. But
AJ McCarthy still tied for the rookie lead in passing touchdowns despite rehabbing from his meniscus tear. Legend status already.
Oh my god. But yeah, Brian Robinson Jr. and his giant hats, also a very good game on the ground. Speaking of like best teams from 2015, their leading receiver was Zach Ertz.
What the
So-
fuck? And Noah Brown was second. When did he even go there?
I don't even know who Noah Brown is. Oh, he was on
He
the
was
Cowboys.
On the
Oh
Texans
shit.
last year. When the fuck
Yeah.
did he go to the commies?
This year, he was on Houston last year.
What
Oh,
the
yeah.
fuck?
He's from Flanders, New Jersey.
And
Stupid.
shout out Devin Singletary for having like just under 100 yards and a touchdown after everybody gave him so much shit for no reason, like, or for no other reason than his name isn't Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. Also, big shout out Malik Neighbors, 127 yards on 10 receptions. I think he was targeted 18 times as well. This was very much a Daniel Jones going, here, you take it. Yeah, he had 18 targets. The rest of the team had 9. So
Jesus.
I just would like to point out before we go any further, Devin Singletary and Saquon Barkley had the same yardage this week.
surely there will be nothing to talk about
Narrative.
Saquon Barkley later. in this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah,
No,
that's
nothing
all
at all.
Saquon did this
Everything
week.
has to be going well in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yeah, this was a much better game by Daniel Jones. Didn't turn the ball over. But this was just bad luck not having a kicker. The thing people talked about is that, like, Brian Dable, I won't say he's on the hot seat, but people have their doubts after last year. And a lot of people from New York media that I've heard talk about this will say that it's like, as soon as you basically lose your cool and lose control on the team is when you're on the hot seat. And so the like spiking of the headset and like getting really pissy with reporters after the game, real quick way to paint a target on your back, because that's basically what Ben McAdoo did a season after making the playoffs. So
Especially
see
in
that
the
thing?
New York media too.
That thing with Daboll in the post-game conference where he fielded a question from a reporter being all shitty, and then he just kept like staring at him.
yeah, I
That
did
was
see that.
weird. This
Very
dude might have
weird.
found Adam Gase's coke stash.
Dude, I still think about that press conference where Adam Gase was all bug-eyed. Like, what the fuck is going on? I hope I
miss,
meet him someday, because I can just be like, what the fuck?
I miss when the Jets had Adam Gase and we could just bring up Adam Gase on this show every week.
What's he doing now?
What
Let's
is he
find out.
doing?
Adam
Nothing.
Gase.
Or like when the Jags had Urban Meyer and there was something new with him to talk about every week. It was a good
Yeah.
era for the show. We
What is
guaranteed entertainment each week.
Speaking of bad Jets coaches, what is Rich Kotite up to?
That's a
let's
deep
see.
cut.
Damn, he's not doing anything. So yeah,
I'm gonna
I mean,
request that's put in a thumbnail.
yeah, the disastrous start to the season for the Giants continues. This was obviously much better than last week, but
they're
0-2 is
still
0-2.
Yeah.
Speaking of 0-2, the Los Angeles Rams. What a disaster.
Yeah.
Last week was a tight, they are an overtime stop away from knocking off the Lions. This week, a terrible game and a complete stomping by the Arizona Cardinals, and everyone's hurt. And
Yeah, the injuries piling up.
yeah,
These were the Rams I were expecting when Aaron Donald announced his retirement.
yeah.
With such a chasm that he left, I knew this kind of game was going to happen. And even though their offense was kind of clicking until Cooper Kupp got hurt, like, you just can't make up for that on the defensive side in just one season.
Yeah, there's definitely a big hole, like physically and like spiritually, in the middle of this defense without him. And it seems like they've kind of taken the approach of like, we'll get like 8 guys to replace Aaron Donald, but it's just not worked out so far.
Yeah. Problem with that is you can only fit 11 guys on the field.
Yeah. So until Sean McVay finds a way to like put 2 guys in a trench coat on the field, right lined up at nose tackle, I don't know what they're gonna do. So
Worth noting in this game as well, Kyler Murray had a perfect passer rating.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forgot how good Kyler Murray is because
Yeah,
last year when he came back from injury, the Cardinals immediately went from butt ass shit to pretty goddamn frisky. And then we saw him put it to the Bills for the first half of last week.
and just
And that was
beat
not a
the
fluke.
shit out of the Rams. Yeah.
Yeah, finally building that connection with Marvin Harrison Jr., getting him his first 2 career touchdowns in the first quarter.
Yeah.
What a way to make a statement.
4 receptions for 130 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., also fun fact, the first rookie receiver to have 100 plus yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half since his dad. So
Hell yeah.
it runs in the family. Speaking of all which, it's time for the Greg Dortch update.
Come see Greg George. Your kings, proud of Glendale's football team. Scoring all the touchdowns for you. Punt return man. Kickoffs too. He's Greg Dortch.
Greg Dortch, 2 receptions for 11 yards and also returned 2 punts for 30 yards. Yeah, that
All
was the Greg Dortch
right.
update.
Right. Yeah.
I like just throwing to that bit as aggressively as possible.
I liked that. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Also, James Conner, 122 yards on the ground. Just complete domination by the Cardinals. I think we kind of like jokingly said they could be a playoff team, like when we did our season preview, and now that's kind of looking like it might come true.
Yeah, like
It's not
with,
too outlandish now.
I mean, with the injuries that the Rams and the Niners are dealing with, and who knows what Seattle's going to be. There's a golden opportunity here for the Cardinals to really make some noise and surprise a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm because I'm trying to think of teams that are going to be in the wild card hunt.
I also enjoy that, like, I think everybody just forgets that James Conner is on the Cardinals, and then every like 5 games or so he just has a game like this to like remind everybody, yeah, I'm still fucking here. Like, you
like,
can
"Oh, yeah,
forget
James
my
Conner."
existence all you want, but I will still drop 100 yards and a touchdown on you whenever I want.
He was really good in 2018.
Yeah. And in 2024, perhaps.
Yeah. Or whatever year it was that he basically replaced Le'Veon Bell, and everybody was like, "Damn!"
Oh yeah, that was the year Le'Veon held out. That was
And
2018.
yeah, in
Yeah.
yesteryear.
Good for him.
Do we have anything else to say about this? We'll get to injuries that the Rams suffered later, but Matt Stafford's still playing well, but this season is very quickly becoming a disaster.
Yeah.
He just needs help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Can't do
just
it all alone.
unraveling. I mean, Blake Corum was on the field supposedly. Maybe he does more of that.
Technically played football.
Yeah, he did the Tony Snell. He just kind of ran around the entire time.
It was me in flag football. Just like trying to look like I'm doing something. And that was Rams Cardinals. Speaking of James Conner's former team, the Steelers beat the Broncos 13-6. Okay, so quick question about this game because I know he was fully padded again. Was Russell Wilson listed as inactive again?
Yes.
What the fuck are we doing?
What?
He got the game ball.
What the fuck are we
I
doing?
get this.
Oh yeah,
I
he
get
got
this.
the petty game ball. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the game ball because it was in Denver. So I'm okay with it because
okay.
that's a power move against Sean Payton.
Yeah. Okay.
I gotta try to find the quote that Justin Fields said about this because I read it off the other day and I gotta try to find it again. Oh yeah, yeah. Justin Fields was asked about the game ball in the press conference after, and he said, "I think we all know Russ got kind of did dirty last year, so I know he wished he could have played today in this game, but it's awesome getting a win for him. He got a petty game ball."
That fucking rules. So, like, I know it's been fun to rip on Russell Wilson because he's weird and kind of annoying.
The Broncos did him so fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Well, even look at it this way. Would you rather have him over Bo Nix right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can safely say so.
That
Short term,
Red zone-
probably. Long term, no.
that end zone interception was pretty bad.
Bo Nix did not look good.
No.
Corey Trice picking him off like that. I mean,
He looked better than last week, but that's not
It's-
saying much.
second game jitters, but even then, he really just did not make good decisions under
No.
center.
Yeah, it's an improvement over last week, but still, I mean, that was 2 ugly interceptions.
And
Um,
not only that, but Greg Dulcich had 2 just brutal drops
Oh my
in the
God.
second half.
Yeah.
Almost guaranteed touchdowns, and he dropped both of them. He had one in his hands, and he let it go. That probably cost him more than anything Bo Nix did
I would
did during
agree.
that game.
I was just about to make a joke that was a reference, and I realized we didn't talk about it. Or no, wait, it's our what the football moment. Never mind. Okay, I won't spoil that then. But he caught the ball and he was like, "Ugh," and then he dropped it. So,
But yeah, between Corey Trice and a pick, DeMonte KZ with a pick, Highsmith and Watt doing their thing. I mean, defense is good. Fields is still figuring things out, and as long as he has that magnet in George Pickens' hands to throw to and give Najee and Warren the rock, they're doing just fine. They don't need to score any more than necessary. It's efficient football.
it really
As long
is.
as Chris Boswell can kick 8 million field goals every game.
That
he'll be
too. They
Fucking
just
fine.
have to get Boz in range. He hit
Chris
another one
Boswell
for 53.
offensive fucking player of
God.
the year. He's got 8 field goals through 2 weeks.
He has the
It's-
highest field goal percentage over 50 in NFL history now, I believe.
It's like how
More than Tucker?
Yeah, he's 53% from beyond 50 yards.
Wow.
So it's like how the second weekend in a row, I'm going to derail the show to talk about motocross. It's just like I do on Fake Racers every week. The Steelers scoring points is like how Jet Lawrence, he can go so fast, but he goes just fast enough to win by a second every single race. Like, and it drives everybody else fucking crazy. Because, like, dudes back in the day, like James Stewart, they would essentially run up the score and he's like, I'm going to win by a minute and just fucking smoke everybody. And Jet just gets out front and then he just kind of cruises there. And it's like, yeah, come try. I don't care. That's the Steelers. They're like, yeah, we'll score 13 points. We dare you to try to score more than
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
We don't need to do anymore.
Genuinely, you do that. You put the defense back out on the field, and they'll probably get you more points.
Entirely
It's-
possible.
It's smart football.
If they lined up their defense against the Broncos' defense, they would probably score a point. Like they're not snapping the ball to anybody. TJ Watt's just going after people. They're probably still gonna find a way to score.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty good at that. I love that, man.
Offense is a fad.
Exactly. Pound the rock and get the stop on D. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Thanks to Cordell Stewart 2.0. The Steelers are back. They're going to Super Bowl.
Also, the Steelers have somebody on defense named Isaiah Loudermilk, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's good. I like him.
Yeah. Oh God, I
Steelers
forgot they have
still-
Michael Pruitt, but it's Mycole.
Michael Pruitt.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Steelers have sole possession of first place still.
One last thing. Broderick Jones cost his team a touchdown. He fucking sucks. He got 3 penalties in 1 drive.
Yeah, you don't need it. They only needed 13 points. He was taking
That's
one
true.
for the team. He was like, "No,
Yeah.
guys, trust me. We don't
'Cause-
need this touchdown."
George Pickens caught a ball and scored, but it was called back because Broderick Jones was eating paste or something on the line. I don't remember.
I just looked at the score sheet and it's Steelers defense is still outstanding. Broderick Jones sucks.
Oh, quick side note about bad offensive linemen. Shout out to Steelers legend Chuck Sikorafor for getting benched in the Patriots season opener and then just like not wanting to play football anymore.
Yeah,
he just
he
left
got
the
an
team.
attitude. He said, bench me, and they did. And it's like, well, damn. All right, I
What are you
quit.
gonna do? Bench me? Quote from Man Benched.
Yeah, he did that here. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Paid him like $4 million to do that. Oops.
He
Mhm.
literally just bounced. Like
Yeah.
At least you're not Denver paying $39 million a year for Russell Wilson to beat your team.
Russell Wilson didn't even do it though.
You
paid him
saw him.
$40
You saw him.
million
He was
to
on the
get the
sidelines. He had his pads on. He did it.
Yeah, and he was there. He was
True.
part of that.
He was getting ready.
He
was
got
all
the
dressed
game
up
ball. What do you mean?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Oh man.
I love this team.
He just can't. It's
So
just
silly.
we're gonna talk about Russell Wilson every fucking week. And he's not gonna play it down. Like, God. I mean, he is taking. I can't criticize him that much because I've been saying that coaches should wear pads too, for God knows how long. So he's just auditioning to be Mike Tomlin's replacement. So
Seeing Bill Belichick out there in pads and cleats.
Dude, it's like, okay, because the goofiest shit is that baseball managers have to wear a uniform, right? Or at least
love
used to
that.
have. And I'm like, that should be a thing for all sports because I want to see like Phil Jackson in short shorts and a tank top also. And, you know, if you put Mike Vrabel or Dan Campbell in pads, they're gonna be like, "Fuck it, I'm putting myself in the game."
We're gonna have player coaches again.
Yeah, bring it back.
I think we could also go the other way and bring back the suits for coaches. I need to see Jack Del Rio come back out with the suit.
Too, yeah, they did look sick as hell.
Yeah,
He did.
that's aura.
What? Okay, hang on. What coach should? What would be the funniest coach to wear a suit?
Mike
think Mike Mc-
McDaniel.
I was just about to say the same thing. Oh my god. Yeah, Mike McDaniel would be pretty funny.
I think Kevin O'Connell would be kind of goofy in a suit.
Yeah.
At any of the young offensive guys.
Dan Campbell would be wrong in the same way that you'd see your former teacher at a bar.
Yeah.
It just does not fit him.
I
Yeah.
think there should be like every Halloween weekend we should allow coaches to dress up as whatever they want. like imagine Dan Campbell showing up like dressed up as a lumberjack for that game.
Oh god, I gotta remember. So I can't find it, but there is a really funny Todd Bowles quote since we're talking about head coaches, where because Todd Bowles is very stoic, right? And
Mhm.
somebody mentioned that to him, and then he just like yelled his response at the reporter. This is an attorney! like I'm just kind of fucking with him. It was really fucking funny. I gotta find it. Yeah, and that was fuck. What game? Oh yeah,
Steelers Broncos.
I forgot what game we were talking about. To talk about football again. I want to see Andy Reid in a suit.
This
He
next
should
game
dress
is
up.
fucking pain.
Would wearing a suit? How much suit would that be?
That's a lot of suitage.
I need to. Oh my god, there are pictures of him in a suit. Holy shit!
He looks like a. Have you guys seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
I have not.
Oh, he looks like Kingpin. Hang on. Like, Matthew, put this in the thumbnail. This is Andy Reid. He's just like a big ass rectangle with a tiny little head on top of it. This is Andy Reid.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I also found Andy Reid dabbing. I think.
You think?
Matthew, put that in the thumbnail as well. But yeah, speaking of Andy Reid's football team, Burrowhead no more. Actually, it hasn't been that for a hot minute because the Chiefs beat the Bengals 26-25.
Kansas City striped uniforms won this game.
This
at the
was
end.
so infuriating to watch.
You knew it was going to happen the entire time.
To be fair,
Ugh.
that was pass interference.
It was, but still.
Yeah,
Like-
of course it was the Chiefs. It happens
Yeah, like-
to the Chiefs.
Like we saw, like it was 4th and 16, and it was like the Chiefs are gonna find a stupid fucking way to convert this and get a field goal. Like the ball hadn't even been snapped, and it was like, this is too good to be true. There's no way they lose this. And sure enough, they
Yeah,
did not
now
lose.
you know how the rest of the NFL felt for about 20 years.
Good.
It sucks, doesn't it?
Well, It's funny because for people that aren't Patriots fans that root for other teams in the AFC, it's like, God damn it, you didn't even get a fucking reprieve from it. It just transferred from one team to another instantly.
Yeah. It was
Well, on the bright
that,
side, you're used to it.
It's just a 25-year-long streak of somebody always fucking you over every week, and it's just, well, shit.
Yeah, that
2020
must
Super
really
Bowl.
suck.
Yeah.
That 2020 Super Bowl where the Bucks just laid the hammer on the Chiefs was very much like a, hang on, we got to do this one last time, and then afterwards they're like, now it is your turn.
That is still one of my favorite games ever for that reason alone. Like, it was literally just Tom Brady reminding Patrick Mahomes who the fucking GOAT was. Like, it's like,
God.
no, not so fast, buddy. Like,
Um,
oh, you can go.
yeah, the second half of this game was so many missed opportunities by the Bengals.
Yeah.
And then, as we mentioned, they're up a point or up two late in the game. It's 4th and 16. Mahomes scrambles. He throws it to, God, I don't even remember who it was, to Rashee Rice, and they get called for pass interference. They immediately basically get into field goal range and kick the game-winning field goal. Biggest problem, the Bengals, I mean, their social media team tweeted like, "Oh, we landed in Kansas. Where are we?" And it's like, well, they don't take too kindly to that.
Worth noting as well that Evan McPherson missed an extra point in this game, and if he hadn't, that field goal would have tied it instead of winning the game.
Yeah. Like I was mentioning, like it's just all missed opportunities. I do want to talk real quick because we didn't mention it last week. Did you guys see the dumbass shit about Joe Burrow's hand last week?
I did not.
I saw a little bit of it, I think.
So there were some shots because he injured his throwing hand last year, and there were some shots of him kind of like stretching it and shaking it, whatever, working with it, and then for some fucking reason, because apparently nobody in NFL media has ever held a water bottle before in their life, there is a shot where Burrow's sitting on the bench and his Gatorade bottle is on the ground next to him, right? And he reaches over, and I wish I had my camera on right now so I could demonstrate this. And he grabs the bottle like a claw from the top, okay? And then he kind of tosses it up to himself to grab it. And it's something that I have done thousands of times because
I do that.
Yeah.
Who doesn't do that?
Apparently nobody in the NFL media, because the fucking NFL media, or just like not the media, the press, started freaking out that it was like Joe Burrow can't even pick up his water bottle. He had to like adjust so he could drink it. And it was like, no, dumbass,
he was covering up his water bottle.
He was holding it and covering up the part that you put your mouth on. And then he tossed it to himself so he could drink out of it. Hit the fucking gym, nerd. It was just insane that it was like this whole story. And a reporter asked Joe about it, and they were like, is something up with your hand? And he was like, why? And they're like, oh, because this. And he was like, because I picked up a water bottle weird. And he like just like gave this reporter the like, are you fucking kidding me look? And then sure enough, he was fine in this game. He threw for 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. So like, yeah, there should be concerns over like, oh, is he still going to be healthy and is his hand okay? But it was like the way he picked up a water bottle is not fucking reason to be concerned.
That's ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
yeah, it was so stupid.
There's concern to be had about the Bengals as a team with how they've played, but not about the health of Joe Burrow, at least not this week.
Yeah. Last week, there was definitely, I feel, reason to be concerned, but I mean, he put that in firmly in the past this week.
On the flip side, though, losing Isaiah Pacheco is a massive blow for the Chiefs.
Yes, it is.
Even though they won this game.
It will be interesting to see how Carson Steele plays in the meantime, but that's one of the biggest pieces they could lose at this point.
We also had a big man touchdown in this game. Wanya Morris, one of the Chiefs' O-linemen, caught a 1-yard touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes.
Hell yes.
Always got to shout out the big guys getting their dues.
Hell yeah.
And give them their flowers.
Also, Garrett appreciates my meme. Should I tell him to get in, boys? Garrett, get on the podcast.
Just join mid-podcast.
He's playing Fall Guys right now.
He's playing Five Guys, Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Where's my
God
get
damn
on
it.
VC picture? Hang on. Where is this? Do you know which one I'm talking about, Steven?
No.
Hang on, I'll post it. Burger.
Hamburger.
Hammed burger.
But yeah, so Chiefs come out on top. The interesting thing about this though was last week the Chiefs offense looked pretty goddamn good. This week, not good.
And they scored
Patrick
the same
Mahomes
amount
threw
of
2
points.
interceptions. It looked a
Kelsey
lot
and
like
Xavier Worthy really didn't do anything.
They were
No.
invisible. Kelsey had a single reception in this game.
it looked a lot like last year's Chiefs again.
Yeah,
Um,
just
so-
good enough to win though, barely.
yeah, there's definitely still reason to be concerned. I mean, they were 1 of 8 on third down. That doesn't sound like the Chiefs.
I am really interested to see how this team stacks up when they play the Chargers week 4, because the Chargers defense has looked real good so far and has allowed 13 points through 2 games. And if they struggle against them, the Chargers might have something to say for this division this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to that Raiders game in December where
Yeah,
Aiden O'Connell basically didn't complete a pass for 3 quarters and they still won. So, yep, Chiefs escape with a win. The Bengals fall to 0-2. A little bit of cause for concern for both teams, but I mean, they are 2 of the best teams of the last 5 years, so not too much. One team that is inching up to the panic button is the Chicago Bears, because they lose 19-13 on Sunday Night Football in a game where the Texans defense came to play. Caleb Williams was sacked 7 times, hit 11, and pressured 36 times. The
Right.
Texans had 36 pressures. That is insane. The Texans escape with a 19-13 win in a game where, I mean, neither offense looked very good.
Yeah,
But
the-
go
the
ahead.
trade the Texans made to take Will Anderson right behind CJ Stroud last year is well worth it already.
Right?
What a fucking game he had.
Yeah, Will Anderson, sack and a half. I mean, he was in the backfield every single play. Daniel Hunter, can't speak. Their acquisition from the Vikings, he had a sack and a half. Aziz Al-Shair had a sack. Henry Toto had a sack. I pronounce that as white as possible. It like genuinely, it felt like Caleb Williams did not have a single clean pocket to work from. And I know people
Not at
definitely
all.
have their questions about him, but I don't know how any rookie quarterback could have performed with the level of duress that he was under the entire night.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
It
imagine if
reminds
Bryce
me-
Young was on this team instead for this game.
Oh, jeez.
It
He would've
reminds me
died.
a lot of first year Joe Burrow, because I mean, he still showed flashes of what he could do, but that line was so bad that he just
Yeah.
had to run all the time, and eventually it bit him, and he missed the rest of the season after getting hurt. I'm
Yeah.
worried that the same might happen to Caleb Williams here.
There was 2 interceptions by Caleb Williams. They were both pretty ugly. The last one that everybody keyed in on, I don't like. Obviously, there was some sort of miscommunication. It was a shame too, because it happened after an extremely good escape from pressure that he had, where Will Anderson had him wrapped up, ripped his jersey, he escapes, scrambles, and then throws it into triple coverage. And then you have the last play of the game where he chucks it downfield to, I want to say it was Rome Odunze. And I think Odunze was, I think either Caleb Williams expected him to run a different route, or Odunze didn't come back to the ball, but he threw it to nobody on 4th and 17 and kind of left everybody leaving that final play of the game like, huh? Like I said, I'm not hitting the panic button yet. It's still in the closet, but it's it's talking to me like the Green Goblin mask in Spider-Man, like Kanye's MAGA hat. So it's there, and I'm hearing it, but I'm trying to block it out. So
Something interesting I'm noticing looking at the game log. There were 5 field goals in this game from over 50 yards.
Dude,
and
it's the
then
year of the kicker. Yeah.
the other one was 47.
Yeah, the
Do you
Bears
think this is
finally
the
have a
year?
reliable kicker.
Is this the year we have a kicker that gets a 70-yarder?
I think it could be.
I mean, we almost had one in week
Well,
one.
if Mike McCarthy wasn't a pussy, we could have had it
He
last
wasn't a
week.
coward.
Yeah,
Yeah, like come
I
on,
was-
man.
I was hoping Boz would get one in the thin air. Clearly not, but I'm kind of seeing a shift in how offense is played. Now it's you can get a field goal easier than ever.
Definitely
yeah.
seems that way. Yeah.
Do the Cowboys play in Denver this year? Hang on. Oh, they don't play them. Damn it. I was gonna say they have to do it then at that point. Yeah, Kaimi Fairbairn was unreal in this game.
That was it, like a 59-yarder to start the game. I think it was
56, and then he hit
That
a
one was
59er
fucking-
later.
That's right.
Just unreal. But yeah, like we mentioned, I mean the Bears offense did not look great. Caleb Williams has been not too great through 2 weeks. I'm not counting him out yet. But the Texans running game wasn't doing much all night. Nico Collins, I think, was like the one breakout offensive star of this game because he was a monster. He seemed like he could not be covered tonight or that night.
17 yards of reception. Just lit
wild.
them up.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So the Texans advanced to 2-0, and finally,
After 2 weeks,
I don't even know how to
self-team
get
with a
into this
win.
one. The Falcons and the Eagles played football on Monday night.
They did.
And on a night where Kirk Cousins did not look particularly great, still kind of dealing with that Achilles. The Eagles, it was all coming up for the Eagles, right? I mean, they basically dominated this game. They had a missed opportunity where they went for it instead of kicking a field goal before half. What are you going to do? Jason Kelsey was there. He was in the booth for a long time. He called multiple tush pushes. Everything was going right. They had that great touchdown and then 2-point conversion by Saquon Barkley, like really announcing his arrival in Philly. And then you have the final Eagles drive of the night.
What the hell?
They're up. Let's see. They're up 6. It's 21-15. Like we'd mentioned, the Falcons have really not done much all night. They get down to the goal line, and it is 3rd and 3 at the Atlanta 10 with 1:46 remaining. The Falcons have, I think, 1 timeout left, so conventional wisdom says, run it. You are the best short yardage team in the NFL. I mean, even at that point, even if you don't get it, you have the tush push in your pocket, you know? Again, you have Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and all of these ground targets, and instead they throw a dump-off pass to Saquon Barkley, which for all intents and purposes should have worked, and then Saquon dropped it and took only 4 seconds off the clock, and the Eagles decide not to go for it on 4th and 3. They kick the field goal and then immediately go into extremely loose prevent defense. And I want to read off this this final drive summary by the Falcons because
This was absurd.
and the best description I heard of this was the one drive where Kirk Cousins he they went into hurry up and he wasn't thinking about his Achilles because it was a night and day difference with how he played compared to the rest of the game.
So good.
11-yard pass to Kyle Pitts, then a 21-yard completion to Darnell Mooney, then a 26-yard pass to Darnell Mooney. Then he throws it 5 yards to Drake London, incomplete pass to Ray McLeod, and then a 7-yard touchdown pass to Drake London. There's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that pushes back 15 yards. Doesn't matter. Young Wei-Koo is a monster. They kick the extra point. Yeah. They kick the extra point to go up 1. And then on the next drive, Jalen Hurts just chucks it into like double coverage and
That
it's
was an
intercepted.
awful pick.
That was ugly.
It was
Just terrible.
It was desperation.
Yeah. And the Falcons escape Monday night, not only avoiding 2-0, but with a huge win over the Eagles. And all of a sudden, all of those questions about the Eagles last year are right back in the
Uh-huh.
forefront.
I think
What
a
did
lot
I
of the
say
questions
last week?
I think a lot of the questions we had about the Falcons after week 1 are a little quelled for now too. With that,
Yes.
This was, I believe this is the third game in the last year that the Eagles have led within 2 minutes to go and lost. So, and
I've
there
been
was,
beating this drum. This is the kind of thing this team does. They're good when things are going good. Something bad happens, and then the wheels just fall off. Like,
yeah,
it's what we were talking about earlier with Dable. Nick Sirianni flies off the handle like that. And
dude,
I don't know where
yes.
Big Dom was, but, like, that team could fall apart really quick if they can't
There,
figure it
yeah.
out.
I believe it was on that long touchdown drive. There was, they had to take a timeout to avoid a delay of game. And it's almost disturbing to watch because Sirianni, he's like talking to the official, and then he turns and he takes off his headset and he just starts screaming at either Jalen Hurts or the center. Like, I mean, screaming. Like, looks like fucking Josh McDaniels in 2009. Like, if you've ever seen the clips of him
Yeah.
screaming bloody murder at his players. And I was saying this, I was in the Three Guys Talk About Football live game chat in there, and I just said, I was like, Nick Sirianni just seems like a fucking asshole.
He reminds me a
Thank
lot
you,
of
Trey.
Mike Babcock, for those
Yeah.
that understand puck.
but yeah,
I can see it.
I don't like him. He makes me uncomfortable. And watching how he deals with losses makes me think that locker room is getting toxic with him in
I mean,
there.
watching how he deals with wins is toxic.
Yeah.
Like that, I think it was in Arrowhead last year where he was like screaming at Chiefs fans as he was walking out the stadium. And it was
Yeah.
like,
oh, I forgot about that.
you know, like I think you can puff your chest after a win, but like you're the head coach, man. Don't chirp at fans like that. Like,
Yeah.
you're above that shit. You know? So I mean, it's all fine and dandy when they're winning, but if you're blowing games like this, all of a sudden those things don't, it doesn't hold up. Like
Yeah.
winning is a good cover up for a lot of things. You get a lot more freedom if you're good. So
I think this Eagles team is too good to just completely falter and break apart like that, but I think a first round playoff exit is still well within their reach, or even missing the playoffs.
I don't know, because they imploded last year. I think they could do the same this year.
yeah. Hang on. How many? I'm gonna look at their record right now because I think they've won like one of their last 8 games, something like that.
Yeah, last year they went up 10-1, then they lost against the Niners. They finished 11-6 and then got bounced by Tampa.
Yeah, they lost, including a playoff game, 6 out of 7. So they've won 2 of their last 9 games.
And one of those was against the Giants, which
Yeah.
doesn't really count as a football team.
Their next 2 games also are. Ooh.
I forgot about that Giants loss too because that was the Eagles at full strength playing for the number 1 seed and they got smoked.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, Dewey, the next 2 weeks they're playing Saints and then Bucks, both on the road.
On the road, yeah.
And after their bye week, they play Cleveland. Like,
oof.
This team could be staring down 1-4.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, and like I thought it was kind of weird that Sirianni seemed to be on the hot seat, but after last year, a year removed from making the Super Bowl and being, a holding call away from winning it. And now we're at the point where it's almost kind of unavoidable to talk about his job security.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like one of the things too that I was mentioning, like how get away with a lot with winning. I don't hate Jalen Hurts, but he's just kind of an odd dude, and that that kind of quietness that he carries himself with, almost like mystique that he does. He doesn't really show a lot of emotion. That shit doesn't really play well when you're not winning football games,
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it's why people don't like Russell Wilson anymore. Like, if Russell Wilson's gonna be goofy and weird, like it's okay when you're winning, but when you're not winning, it's a distraction. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Saquon Barkley's taken a lot of the brunt of this. I mean, that's a play he's got to catch. But there was an interesting thing where they asked Sirianni about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we have a gadget in place where if the play's not there, then Jalen will just go down." And it was like, "Why don't you just run it? Just hand it off. Don't even risk throwing it. Like, stop overthinking this."
Yeah, I just don't understand what that team is trying to accomplish at this point. Their tush push still works, but how much longer is it going to work? Once it
Yeah.
stops working, what are they going to do?
They got to figure
They're
out how
way
to do
too
it for
reliant
4
on it.
yards.
Yeah,
Or instead of 10 yards being for a first down, it's 1 yard, and you just do it like 80 times in a row and score a touchdown every time.
yeah.
We need to change football.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Eagles blew what Next Gen statistics said was a 99.3% chance of winning before that play. So good job. And
What about Gen 6 stats?
In other words, L.
Gen 6? That's Jimmy Johnson has won his 7th Cup championship.
Yo, no way.
Yeah, and that was week 2. And now we throw it over to the dudes.
Yeah, and there's a lot here. There's been quite a few big names that have been injured already, and that unfortunately has continued through week 2. Christian McCaffrey, who was already ruled out for the first 2 games with Achilles tendonitis, has landed on injured reserve, which means he is going to be out at least 4 more games. So it is going to be week 7 at the earliest that the Niners are going to have his services again. The Chiefs are going to be without Hollywood Brown for the duration of the season because he underwent shoulder surgery late last week. Mentioned Isaiah Pacheco earlier. He fractured his fibula in that game, so he's going to be out at least 6 weeks, probably 8. So Carson Steele, next man up. Mentioned the concussion that Tua had earlier. The Dolphins also put him on IR, so at least a month before he comes back. Would not shock me if it's longer. Mentioned Graham Gano as well, where the Giants just haphazardly put him out there just because. Well, he strained the fuck out of his hamstring, so he's out probably a month or so. So I don't know what they're going to do for a kicker, but they're going to have to find something. The Rams lost John Johnson and Jonah Jackson, a defensive and offensive starter. Both went on IR, and both of them have fractured scapulas. Ouch. Yeah. Mentioned Debo getting hurt as well. He has a strained calf muscle, probably out multiple weeks from that. The Patriots have lost one of their team leaders on defense, Juwan Bentley, to the year with a torn pec. I am very sad. That sucks.
just sounds like a painful injury.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It sucked too because when that happened during the game, the Patriots said he was questionable to return with a shoulder injury, and then it came out yesterday. It was oh no, he tore his pec and he's out for the year. It's what?
Ugh.
How the fuck escalate that fast?
Well, it's remember when that Lions O-lineman literally broke his neck and then he finished the game, and then afterwards they were like, "Dog, you should be dead."
Yeah. God. Yeah, that's a big loss for the Pats defense, but hopefully they can try to fill the void as best they can. The Colts have put DeForest Buckner on IR with an ankle injury, so the center of their defense is out for a bit. Cooper Kupp has an ankle injury. He's not on IR, but he's probably going to miss a couple of games. So the Rams are just bleeding all over the place. Injured players everywhere
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and with Puka Nacua already on IR, they've addressed that by signing Quintez Cephas to their practice squad. So I'm sure he'll be elevated prior to their next game. The Dolphins signed Tyler Huntley off the Ravens practice squad to back up Skylar Thompson this week. The Bengals signed Patriots legend Lawrence Guy to the active roster. The Giants have addressed their kicker situation by signing Greg Joseph off the Lions practice squad. And the Chiefs have one of their old kickers back. They have signed Kareem Hunt to the practice squad to back up Carson Steele in their next game.
God damn it.
And as we mentioned earlier, Dave Canales announced yesterday that Bryce Young has been benched for Saints and Cowboys legend Andy Dalton, who will start his first game since the middle of last season.
The
And
Red Rocket.
And our WTF or What the Football moment of the week comes courtesy of Packers center Josh Myers, who during the game against the Colts fucking just vomited all over the fucking football before spiking it back to Malik Willis. Just fucking puked all over the ball.
Because Malik went back and the coach was like, what went wrong with that play? And Malik said, yeah, the center threw up on the ball. It was slippery.
It's so fun. Yeah, Matt LaFleur's quote about it is so goddamn funny.
Yes,
But
yeah.
like that interspliced with the footage of it happening is great because you see him fucking blow chunks and then snap it, and then Malik's like, oh god, what do I do? And it's third down. He just takes off running with it. He was like, I'm not throwing this shit. Which to me would be like the opposite reaction I would have, which would be like, I don't want this shit here, Romeo.
I'd have fumbled
Romeo
the fuck
Dobbs,
out
you
of that
take
ball.
it.
You kidding me?
It's your problem now.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur was asked about it after the game, and his quote was, I've never had to throw with vomit on a football. Malik probably didn't appreciate that. But
Oh
it's
my
okay because the Colts threw up all over the field figuratively with how they played, so it turned out all right for the Packers anyway. And that was the news.
Dudes rock.
Yeah.
That's real football right there.
So we have Dunyan rings on the show sheet. I don't know if there's anybody. I mean, we could put the Panthers on there again if we want.
Let's
I'm
put the
thinking
Panthers on there again.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
thinking specifically Bryce Young now that he's benched.
Yeah. It's
That's-
Bryce Young
yeah.
and the Panthers Dunyan rings again.
Could you imagine the scenes if Andy Dalton gets hurt this week?
Oh no. Welcome back, Matt Corral.
Oh. Who's their third stringer? Hang on.
Oh,
Who
God.
the hell knows?
2024 Carolina
They have one?
Panthers.
Let's find out.
They don't have one.
Oh, good. Okay.
They have it on the practice squad?
Let me.
They have
ESPN does not say they
Jack
have one.
Plummer.
Jack Plummer!
Oh, he's a
Is he-
rookie? Yeah.
Is he
Louisville
related
legend,
to Jake
Jack
Plummer?
Yeah, he's Jake Plummer's son.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah. Doesn't Jake Plummer grow mushrooms now or some shit?
I don't
Let's
know,
find
but
out.
if he does, that's cool.
I typed in MU and it came up with Mushroom Farm. So,
Good for him.
yeah, he does. It's
What
just-
about, should we nominate the Giants for Dunyan rings yet, or should we wait another week?
I
Nah.
would wait a week.
Yeah, this was a significantly better game.
Because they did keep it within a score.
Yeah. I mean, they scored 3 touchdowns.
We should put the Panthers on there again for a third
Yeah,
time.
just to be sure, the third time.
Are you absolutely positively sure?
Do you have any idea of the effect 3 Dunyan rings has on a team?
Oh, actually, I would like to nominate the onside kick for Dunyan rings.
Oh, yeah.
There were a couple of onside kick attempts over the last 2 weeks, and like it's pretty much impossible to get one now.
Yeah.
I-
They're gonna phase it out. They're gonna do something different.
I just went to make a new Dunyan Rings sheet by copying last year's, and there are so many pictures of Mac Jones and Chad Kelly's mugshots on this fucking spreadsheet. And also the picture of, I want to say, Hunter Renfro holding the bag
Yeah,
of
the
grapes.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this show?
Can you get sick from grape?
Also, I'm looking at last year's. We Dunyan Rings the Bears after week 3. Oh, that's why the Beefy Crunch burrito was on the thumbnail, because we marked it as Dunyan Rings. I was wondering about that. Anyway, yeah,
Oh.
so
Oh, we gotta. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me look this up to confirm. Oh, we need to put Tupperware on Dunyan rings. They filed for bankruptcy yesterday.
all my apes.
Damn.
Yeah. Where will I ever find Tupperware again?
As if I haven't been literally throwing Tupperware away when it's like, oh, this food went bad. I don't want to clean this. I have too much.
Yeah, when you put
All of a
soup away
sudden,
and
that could have been a good
hate
investment.
it.
Who up tupping they wear?
Did you guys' moms ever go to Tupperware parties?
No,
No.
I guess that was just my mom. Okay.
no, no. We inherited all of our Tupperware from various sources.
Various sources.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, that's genuinely like when we moved in here, me and my two friends who I lived with, all of our parents bought us Tupperware. And so we just had way too much. And then both of them have moved out and they left all of it. And then my new roommate moved in and she brought her own. And there's just too many containers in my house. I have so much space for things.
You're running out of space because you have too
I
much
am-
space for things.
I can no longer contain all of my containers. But what I can't contain my excitement for, it's pick they thems. Let's get into it. Starting with Thursday night rivalry game, Patriots at Jets.
Oh dear God!
It's almost Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady finally.
Almost.
Fuck the
give me
Jets
the
to hell.
Jets.
Go Patriots.
Give me the Jets, because fuck you, Dewey.
Fuck you. Fuck the Jets.
It's a Thursday game, Matt. You could go for a tie.
I could.
We need to make Al Michaels suffer some more.
Just end their season. Go Patriots.
You know, fuck it, I am taking a tie.
Fun fact, the Patriots have never tied in their entire franchise history.
So
That's gonna change on Thursday night.
I'm okay with that. I'm cool with them tying. I kind of want to see it at some point. No better than a Thursday night game that will probably be miserable to watch.
Feel so bad for Al Michaels.
Yeah.
Kicking off Sunday, it's Giants at Browns.
You gotta
Feels
take the
like
Browns
the kind
here.
of game that the Giants fuck around and win.
I don't want to
don't
pick
know.
either of these teams.
I'm
Like,
going
it's-
to pick the Browns, but it's got that feel to it.
Can I pick another tie?
I know there's. I know that the Browns have that Deshaun Watson stink on them, but I can't pick against Myles Garrett, especially looking at who they're playing.
I can't. Fuck. I can't pick the Browns because I've swore that off. Oh, there was another Kayvon Thibodeau douche moment. I don't know if you guys saw that in a press conference. Where
I didn't see that one.
I don't even remember how it went, but he was just like mocking a reporter for asking a
Ugh.
question.
Yeah,
he's a
he's not a
douchebag.
very nice guy.
You know what? I'm gonna change. Okay, I'm gonna actually switch my last one to the Jets, and I'm gonna take a tie for this game. No. I'm taking the Giants because I refuse to pick the Browns in any capacity.
You know what?
Yeah,
Even in
I
a
respect
tie.
Because
that.
I'll
I
give him
really
half
do.
a win.
Yeah,
I respect that.
Yeah.
Then we get two teams. A lot of questions about their quarterbacks. This very much feels like almost like a loser go home game. Bears at Colts. 2006 Super Bowl rematch.
It's the Rex Grossman Bowl.
But they are who we thought they were.
I am going to pick the Colts, but I'm going to proceed with caution. I think if the Colts fall to 0-3, they might be Dunyan Rings territory.
It's getting there. I'm gonna take the Bears just because I think the Bears defense is very good.
I
think they're gonna terrorize Anthony Richardson, and I think this will be maybe not like his coming out party, or not coming out party, but like his.
What? Because he paints his nails.
That's not what I meant. More like his arrival, kind of, where Caleb Williams like really shows us what he has. So give me the Bears.
For a Colts defense that's missing, or that's going to miss DeForest Buckner as well. That's actually, you know what? I'm switching my pick to the Bears. Actually,
DeForest Buckner.
Yeah.
Steven, what
Okay,
about
give me
you?
the Colts.
Oh.
I mean, Anthony Richardson's going to drag his nutsack all over the field and throw for 700 yards, and they're going to win 73-2.
That's probably gonna slow him down though if he does that. It's gonna be chafed.
Instead of
Ridiculous.
turf toe, it's turf sack.
Turf
Oh,
sack is
no.
unbelievable.
I'm going to very quickly move the show away from this point, which is a battle of undefeated teams, Texans at Vikings.
This is going to be a hell of a game.
This is
I
going to be a
can't-
fun one.
I can't go against Sam Darnold. Give me the Vikings.
I'm going to pick the Texans here, but this has game of the season potential to it, I think.
It really does. I got to stick with my boy also. Give me the Vikings. I think they're going to do it.
I guess instead of the Antichrist, I'm the anti-Sam right now.
I mean, Sam Darnold is a Christ-like figure for this podcast, so
Yeah, it fits.
yeah.
Someone's got to do it.
Exactly. Then we get this is an ultimate test for both these teams, right? It's Eagles at Saints. Is the Saints offense sustainable, and are the Eagles in trouble?
I am locking the New Orleans Saints.
Oh shit.
I was thinking about it. I'm gonna ride the hot hand and pick the Saints, but I was definitely thinking about locking them.
I
wanna
am
point
praying
out-
on Nick Sirianni's downfall.
I want to point out we have gotten a Saints lock before, a Bills lock, a Chiefs lock.
Yeah. They
You know
need to play worse opponents, Paul. They're too
You know
good to lock.
I'm gonna take the Saints as well. Given to me.
We're gonna
I'm
look like
riding with
idiots next week.
I'm riding
didn't
with,
think we'd,
with Nightman, my mascara wearing quarterback.
I didn't think we'd get a clean sweep against the Eagles,
Hell yeah.
but here we are.
Oh baby. This is gonna be there's gonna be maybe 2 forward passes the entire game. It's Chargers at Steelers.
I'm gonna pick the Steelers, but I think the Chargers might win this game.
If the Chargers were being coached by anybody besides Jim Harbaugh, I would pick the Steelers. But like I said out in last week's show, I think Jim Harbaugh might finally be the guy that can shake the Chargers of this 20-plus year-long reputation they have of just randomly being shit and causing themselves to collapse and look like morons the whole time. I'm picking the Chargers to go start 3-0.
He might just be insane enough to do it.
Yeah,
This is two teams that are too stubborn to lose.
Yeah.
pretty much.
This is a good tie pick as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to be going with the Chargers. I can't believe I'm showing faith in the Chargers again, but here we are. Yeah.
The day that one of us gets a tie pick right, it's going to be a great episode.
Yeah, I was gonna when somebody correctly picks a tie and somebody goes 17-0 for a week in pick'ems, we're ending the show. It's done.
What's the closest
This
anyone's come to
podcast
being-
is Dunyan Rings.
What's the closest one of us has gone to going undefeated in a week?
I think Jack went 14-3 once. I
14
know
and 3?
my best is because there's
Yes,
locks
lock.
as double.
I
Yeah.
think I had a 14-2 week.
Yeah, I've gone like 12-5 or 13-4, and I'm pretty sure Garrett had a really good week once too. But I'm pretty sure Jack has the all-time highest score. I'll figure it out. I still have all the old spreadsheets.
Can't let that stand.
Yeah, we got to beat Jack.
Well, hopefully I do this week. Maybe.
Hell yeah.
Anyway.
Then we go on to Tampa Bay, where the Broncos visit the Buccaneers.
This is Tampa.
I
Wait,
will
what?
be picking the Buccaneers
It's
here.
yeah. It's I'm picking the Buccaneers.
Oh, okay, I will be
there's-
locking the Buccaneers.
There's no
just
way
took-
around it.
You just took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Denver
Unreal.
stinks and Tampa is red hot right now.
Yeah. I can see it. Oh baby, Malik Willis revenge game. Packers at Titans.
Wow.
I think I have to take the Packers here.
I'm gonna. I outside of 2 stupid plays, I've liked what I've seen out of out of Will Levis. So I'm going to take the Titans. I think they get off the mat in this game.
I will agree. I'm gonna pick the Titans here as well, but proceed with caution.
Yeah. Then we get Panthers at Raiders.
Come
I
on.
mean, now, I'm not stupid enough to lock against the Panthers again, because you never know what dumb shit could happen. I will be picking the Raiders, though.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders as well, but I'm a little cautious because the one game that Andy Dalton played last year, they actually looked good on offense. So,
The team did not get better on offense
yeah.
from
They did a
last
little
season to
bit.
this one. Give me the Durs.
The Durs?
Oh my god, I'm stealing that one. Then we get Dolphins at Seahawks.
The lack of Tua is making me pick the Seahawks.
Yeah.
If Tua was fully healthy for this game, I'd be picking the Dolphins. But even with all that talent, Skylar Thompson just isn't all that great. And with how well Geno just played against the Patriots, if he can do that again, this Seahawks team could get real streaky.
It's Geno season, baby. Give
Yeah.
me the Seahawks.
Give me the Seahawks.
And then we head up to Detroit. Or no, we don't head to Detroit. We head to Arizona. Lions at Cardinals. This
Cardinals.
has trap game written all over it.
I'm picking the Cardinals for this.
I'm gonna take the Lions, but I could see the Cardinals winning this. I really could.
I love Dan Campbell, but I think the Cardinals are going to do this.
Ooh, spicy. All right, this is the ultimate fraud test. It's Ravens at Cowboys. If the Ravens are good, they will beat the Cowboys. But if the Cowboys beat you, the panic button is on the desk.
Cowboys.
Ooh. I think the Ravens pull this one off.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Ravens.
The Ravens starting 0-3 would be very not good for
Yeah.
them.
That's not like them. I think they can right the ship.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens. NFC West battle, two injury-riddled teams. It's the 49ers at the Rams. At full strength, I would say this is a pretty close game, but I think the Rams are just way too battered right now. I'm going to take the 49ers.
Yeah, give me the 49ers.
As much as I want to lock the 49ers, I think their own injury concerns are enough where this game will be close-ish, but I think the Niners will still win.
Yeah. And then finally, Sunday night, fresh off two miracle wins for each of them, it's Chiefs at Falcons.
Give me the Chiefs.
You know what? Fuck it. Give me the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go
Guys,
with the
give me the
Chiefs. I don't want it, but I gotta go with the Chiefs. And then the first part of a Monday night doubleheader, we can't call it the Josh Allen Bowl anymore because he changed his name to Josh Hines Allen. It's Jaguars at Bills.
Locking the Bills.
Yeah, give me the Bills.
I am
sorry,
picking
Jags.
the Bills, but this also has trap game written all over it.
This is the exact kind of game that they lose.
Yeah.
The Urban Meyer Jaguars did beat the Bills. But the Jags also look like they're in disarray right now, and the Bills are looking really, really good after 2 weeks. I think this one is definitely going to be in Buffalo's favor.
Yeah, the vibes are good in Buffalo right now. And then finally, wrapping up the Monday night doubleheader, it's Commies at Bengals.
I'll be taking the Bengals. I believe in Joe Shiesty.
I'm going to also take the Bengals. I think they get off the mat here. This week was very encouraging.
The Bengals are going to be starting 0-3. I will be taking our team.
Oh, shit.
The Commies and Jaden Daniels are going to shock the world in prime time. They're going to fucking beat the Bengals.
And that was Pick They Thems for week 3.
Speaking of the Bengals, Zach Taylor hot seat watch?
Ooh.
If they lose this game, I think somebody's like, "Where's my lighter?" They're like trying to light the stove, right? It's not hot yet, but they're thinking about it.
It's not outlandish.
Yeah, I think they've put too much good football on tape, and I mean, the 2 seasons Joe Burrow's been healthy, they've gone to the AFC title game. So, yeah, I don't know, but we'll see. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Oofsides here on Track and Turf Media. The intro told you that. If you want to hear more from me, there's the Fake Racers podcast. This week was just Joe and I. Davey was sick, but we had some good talks about about Watkins Glen. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about after Bristol. That'll be interesting. And then we'll be back here next week, presumably, unless one of us dies, in which case
My
that
bad.
sucks. Yeah, L.
Oofsides disaster draft. We're gonna get drafted to other podcasts.
Oh shit! I'm on Pardon My Take now. Did you guys have anything you want to plug?
Plug. I do graphics. Google my name. There's cool stuff there.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Send glitter to Dewey's address.
No, don't.
Which is
Oh,
Don't.
I will say
Don't.
one thing.
Don't.
I will say one thing. Today I'm celebrating 11 years of awful football takes. As on this day in 2013, I announced on Facebook that the Browns were stupid for trading Trent Richardson to the Colts.
To be fair to
Some
Past
things
Dewey,
never change.
at the time that was the thought.
that pick was eventually traded to the Eagles, and the pick the Browns got in return for that was used to draft Johnny Manziel. You know,
That everybody loses.
over Teddy Bridgewater, over Derek Carr, over Jimmy Garoppolo. And immediately after drafting Johnny Manziel, the Kansas City Chiefs took Dee Ford with their pick.
That's the
And
best
that really
pick
just
the
shows
Chiefs ever
you
made.
what the Haslams have in mind for their football team. And I wish them nothing but the worst.
Yeah, big shout out to the study that they paid the analyst to, or the Browns
Oh
paid
my
the guy
god.
to find who the best quarterback in the class was, and he was like, "You should draft Teddy Bridgewater," and they were like, "Why would we do that?"
That turned out to be a pretty weak quarterback class, huh?
Yeah. Some other people, DeMarcus Lawrence was in that draft. Let's see, Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson. Did you guys know he was on the Rams 2 years ago?
No
Really?
way. Really?
Jarvis Landry. You know, just some talent, whatever.
A little bit.
Anyway, this has been Oofsides. I'm sure I've started playing the outro music when I edit this later. Any final thoughts?
What if
Football.
envelopes moaned when you licked them?
What if they didn't?
What if your nipples
Well, they
stick in
don't.
and out like that?
How about we
What?
imagine a more positive world?
What if football?
What about it?
Thanks for watching.